Vinny Jr., let's get into it. The FOKLZ podcast, episode 52, I believe. And Berta has got his tentacles right into Real Madrid. Do octopuses have tentacles? Is that the right language?
Yeah, they do. I'm pretty sure.
Okay. Yeah, we won't go too far down the biology line. That's what we did last week, wasn't it? We ended up with mad chat. How are you feeling about it? Like, because, a bomber on is it a Saturday? I think it's Saturday.
To an extent. A bomber to an extent. To an extent.
Shall I read it? Let me read it. Let me read the actual, the bomber. Exclusive from David Ornstein. Arsenal exploring move to sign Vinícius Jr. from Real Madrid. Arsenal interest early stage and clubs not yet in talks, but idea approved at all levels. Much rests on contract process as no breakthrough yet, and Real Madrid do not want a free exit.
So, interesting. So I've kind of, I got home about 20 minutes ago. I've been out all day. So I've had no signal. If anyone ever goes around in Norwich, the signal's awful. So I kind of have only just started in the last, I would say, half an hour, when I was in the taxi, when I was coming back, to actually look at what is going on, what is actually happening. I mean, a lot of this stuff, someone who reports on this stuff every day, a lot of it isn't particularly that different and new to me, but it's quite interesting. I think there's a lot of interesting stuff that I'm sure we'll talk about in this podcast, which I think is the different elements of what's going on in this actual discussion here. As for the news itself, it is weird a little bit. I don't know if I love. When I saw it, I was like, oh my God. I don't know if I love David Ornstein doing tweets where it's you're exploring a deal, because it's well, there's so much to happen. And it's I do think you are kind of, you're going to put. I've been arguing all week with people that I just don't think Vinny's very likely to come. Every time I've seen people go what wingers do you want? They've been I want Vinny. And I'm like, well, what if we don't get Vinny? Yildiz, we're not getting Yildiz. Creature, we're not getting Creature. And I get so frustrated all week because I'm who are good enough? And now I'm seeing people tell me, oh yeah, we should just get Nusa, we should just get Mika Goetz. It's oh yeah, great. You want Mika Goetz to be our main left winger? Let's just keep Martinelli if that's the case. I'm not going to be. I'm going to be honest. So I was a bit surprised by this Vinny news, but the aspects of it aren't that surprising. I think overall, I just think there's a lot of stuff going on here, and. Yeah. What did you think? I've got some words, but I'll wait.
I mean, major shock, because I was only on, what day was it? It was last week. I was on TDK Plus with Alex, and we went live with the Morgan Rogers news. So obviously the 117 million that they spent. And I think I said on that evening, I said, well, I'd love to get a Barcola in. I'd love to get a Diomande. And the only other player I'd say on that top shelf is a Vinny, but the chances of it happening for me are just next to none. I was it's so difficult to get him out of that club, regardless of everything else going on. And then this happens, and I'm like, what? I think it was a bigger shock that it was Ornstein doing it. I think it was Romano or someone else, a little bit, I don't know, less highly regarded for transfer news and their reliability. I wouldn't have reacted like this, but because it was David Ornstein, I was like, where has this come from? I don't know. It's mad. And I think we'll probably get into all the kind of niche little parts to this deal and the parts that kind of make it a little bit dubious, because obviously let's address the elephant in the room. He has got 1 year left on his contract. He has been negotiating with Real Madrid. They've offered him a crazy amount. I think currently is he on about 400 grand a week. They've offered him more than that. He's still said no, and it's a bit is this an agent playing a game? Is this but because it's Ornstein, I would hazard a guess there's definitely more than an element of truth here.
Yeah, I agree. Now, right. there's a couple of things I kind of want to talk about with this deal and like where I think it's at and where I think the discussion comes into. And I really might forget some of this stuff. So like if I do, it is what it is at the end of the day, because it's very kind of complex in many, many ways. I think the first way I want to kind of tackle this deal is that I've seen a lot of people say he's going to use this to get a better deal. I mean, I'm sorry, but like that is just completely out of this what this situation is. He's been trying to sign a new Real Madrid have been trying to get him to sign a new deal for like 7 months, 8 months. If he was gonna sign a new contract with better wages, they've already given their biggest proposals, right? So this
Yeah.
isn't going to be some sort of agent game to be like, oh, let's get more money. Like a little bit where I know people have been talking about the Bruno situation a bit. I don't think that's the case for that situation, but I think that's a lot much more likely to be that situation there than this because realistically, it's Vinny Jr. He could have just signed a new deal with Real Madrid 4 months ago if he really wanted to, if the contract was really good. I think another big aspect of this is the Yan Diamande speed up that seems to have randomly happened right in the
Yeah.
last 24 48 hours. Like I when I first saw the Yan Diamande last night links to Real Madrid, I was like, makes sense, that's surely their right winger, although he is right-footed and I don't love him on the right wing. I think he's a way better left winger, which is some of my issues I had about him being that main Salah replacement. But I was like, oh, he's good enough on the right wing. Like we've all seen him play there, he was good in the World Cup there to extent. Like I think he'd be fine there. um Obviously that I think that is not necessarily the situation because it's kind of come out that like they are really accelerating the deal for Diamante. It even seems tonight that they have kind of like been like, we want to pay more than PSG and whatever's happening with the PSG thing, and we want to get him in now. And I think that is because of this. And a lot of the Real Madrid like links and people who are very like actually know stuff and not just like the sensational articles that they kind of have, and especially around that club, have been quite honest about the fact that like, well, Vinny's not going to come back to preseason. He's not going to be there for preseason. He's taking a lot
Yeah.
of time off because of the World Cup. So he's going to see what happens, and he still hasn't signed a new deal. And this is where this whole the reason why this deal is interesting is because right now we have no idea, I think, if Vinny is willing to necessarily go to Arsenal. And I always think that's still weird, like Vinny to Arsenal. In my head, I can't see it, but fair enough. But I think from the club perspective, Real Madrid might push him to go to Arsenal because there's so many other details about this. There is sell-on right problems that I will talk about in a bit. I don't want to talk about right now. There is buyout clause problems. There is obviously 1 year left on his deal, and they
Mhm.
don't want to get him to leave on a free. These are all issues that Real Madrid are having internally, which they're like, we could just get 100, 150 mil from this summer and just get rid of it, buy Diamande in, and then be fine. I think that's kind of where I'm looking at it.
I mean, there's so much to unpick just there, isn't there? Right? I mean, I've got here, so this is from Michael Cayley, who'd replied to David Ornstein. He said, I'm skeptical there's a way to make the contract demands work. Vinny currently gets £27 million per season. Madrid offered a contract at £32 million. Vinny requested 48 million. That's
That's
according to
crazy.
Michael Cayley. I guess he could massively lower his wage demands, or Arsenal could break the bank, but I can't see any Premier League club doing so. I mean, so it is so difficult because then here, I mean, this is someone that I like to say is pretty reliable. Big up Yambele from the Latte firm. So he's saying he wants a bigger signing on fee from Real. Wages aren't the issue. And this is like the thing, like there's so many conflicting just elements just about the contract itself. Um, I mean, do you think just in terms of the wages, say he sticks on about 420, 450, is that worth it for you in terms of the entire package? Because it's going to cost, I mean, it's crazy trying to work out even a fee considering what the market's been doing, and then him
Yeah.
being on a final year of his contract. That's going to baffle me. But just in terms of wages, do you think he's someone that we should be looking at breaking the bank for and kind of blowing our whole wage structure out the door?
Yeah, I think for me personally, I would be willing to pay 500k a week for him. And
Hmm.
the reasons because of that is that I think exactly what you just said about Yembele with the sign and on bonus. I've heard that as well. I've heard that there is a clear issue with the sign and on bonus, and they don't. And the problem is, if they, even if like like signs a new deal, they're gonna have to break the bank for him to sign a new deal. And like they've got Mbappe, they might sign Diamande. You know, it's not even like they need Vinny to extend. I know he's been incredible for them and he's a very good player, but we've all talked about how Real Madrid's just so left-sided, lopsided team, and you know, all their quality comes down one side, which has been a problem. People have been speaking about, can Vinny and Mbappe work in the same team? And I've said for
Yeah.
multiple years, I'd probably just go for Mbappe because you signed him more recent. And I do think Mbappe is just like, I think Vinny is incredible. I don't know. I think Mbappe's a little better in personally if I think about best players in the world. But I think that's because he's a striker nowadays and he can play a bit more of that role where Vinny has to do a lot of, you know, I'd say grittier work that I
Mhm.
don't really think Real Madrid care about, to be honest, sometimes. But I think the biggest thing about all of this is that a lot of the wages in Spanish football compared to English football are very different, right? So people talk
Yeah.
about this wages, and I actually think the wage conversation with about would Arsenal pay for Vinny, I think has already been answered by the fact Arsenal are willing to buy him. I think the question is about how much would Arsenal go for. I still think there'd be a limit. I think 500k would be their limit personally. I kind of see that, but there's
Mhm.
a lot of this is a thing I wanted to get into, and I'm glad you said that because now it like works into it. But the player rights in Spain are very, very different to the UK, right? So in the UK, every single player upholds 100% of their player rights, which means if you get a deal, if Bukayo Saka gets a deal from Nike for £100 million, he will get all that £100 million, and obviously he'll have to pay tax on it to 20. I think it's like 25% or something. And the club Arsenal won't get any commissions for that. Now
Yep.
in Spain, like this has been a problem for years. I actually remember a good story of, I think it was Kubo. I think Kubo it was when he went to Real Sociedad from Real Madrid and he had 50% of his rights, and they even might still be the case. I don't know if they've like agreed a deal and changed it, but 50% of his rights were owned by Real Sociedad and 50% of his rights were owned by Real Madrid. So it meant every single deal that he got, they both got commissions on it. So he lost most of his money because he didn't even own his own rights.
Yeah.
And I remember that was a whole thing. I remember Samu had the same issue when Porto tried to buy him from Deportivo. I think there was a bit of a mix up there. Loads of teams own different rights with him. So when you get into these situations, instantly Vinny will be making more money at Arsenal because he'll be able to hold a lot more rights than he would at Real Madrid, who take a lot of his
That's interesting.
player rights up. And I think stuff like that could be a way where Arsenal justify to be like, right, look, you're not going to get much more money on weekly money, but you'll be making more money. You'll get taxed a lot less because that's another thing. In Spain, I think they get taxed something like 45%. I think in the UK, like top professional footballers get paid like get taxed like 25%. That obviously is a big difference. I remember we've had these conversations about Osimhen and the whole Italy thing because Italy's taxes are
Yeah.
different as well, and it's like, and it's all like complicated because they do it a lot in I think it's gross, but or we do it in net or something like that. We do it in gross, they do it in net. I think of like how they do money a year. So I think with these sort of aspects, there is ways with 500k a week that Vinny could come to this team and be okay.
God, I mean, I've brought up the wages, albeit from capology, so how certain they are, I don't know. But I think they're a good ballpark figure to go off. So here, Premier League, we've got so gross fix per week. Erling Haaland's on 525, and then it drops down to second in the Premier League, which is Virgil van Dijk at 350, Bruno at 300, as in Bruno Fernandes, Bukayo Saka 300, Rashford and Grealish both on 300, and Marmoush just below at 295. But I then thought, well, what is it like in the league? Because we talk about in general the amount of money spent in the Premier League, and you can tell there's definitely a difference in how things work because over there you have got is it going to let me bring it up? No, it's not. Of course it's not. It's now bringing up it's now bringing up the wrong thing. It's just bringing up Premier League again, even though I'm selecting on Liga. Apologies for this, mate, but it was completely different. No, apparently apology is just not going to work with me today. I love that. Let me see if I can just bring it up. Highest earners in La Liga. Is it? Are we going to work? Hey, now we're working. Okay, so it's frustrating because it's brought up in euros. really, we want comparison here, don't we? We want it in. There we are. Okay, I've got in pounds. So Kylian Mbappe is on 512. So he's kind of the biggest kind of rival to Haaland in terms of the two leagues. Vinny is on 410. Jude Bellingham's on 340. Jan Oblak's on 340. Yamal's on 340. And then it drops down to about 280, 270 for the likes of Nico Williams, Rodrigo, Canate, Rafinha, to Stegen, Trent, Valverde. There's a lot around that 270. And I look and just go, well, for a player who's already out of all of the players in the Premier League and La Liga, he's third at the moment. And I don't think we're gonna break it to the point where he's Kylian Mbappe or Haaland levels, but he's still gonna be in that third tier of all the wage earners. So I just look and think, why wouldn't we do it? Like I can't see any of the players at the club having a problem with it, and I can't see it causing future issues simply because he's already at that marker. Like he set that for himself, so that's something I'm not too worried about. Um, it's just how do we I don't know. How do we partition this deal up in terms of what's put down up front? What kind of bonuses are there? Where does it go? I mean, yeah, Yamal on 340, insane for a 19-year-old. Can you imagine that? 340 grand a week.
Yeah, it's
Like,
far too much money.
that is
Especially at that age.
insane, isn't
Far
it?
too much.
I wouldn't know what to do with that. Like if you gave
No.
me that for a whole year, I wouldn't know what to do with that kind of money, but there we go. Yeah, I think the club is one of the few deals that I would go, yeah, break the bank for. And I'm someone that's had my reservations about him as a player and a personality, which we'll probably get onto in a little bit. But I just look at it and go, it's as close to the club getting the best player in the world. Like I can't see us getting like Haaland or an Mbappe or Yamal. Like we can't drag them out. But to go in and get Vinicius Jr., like when are we ever been in a position to do that? I think the biggest deal for me we've ever done as a club is Dennis Bergkamp. Like you could argue Mesut Ozil in terms of like the deal itself. Like I've never known us to be in this position. Like, it is
Yeah,
mad.
it is insane. Like I was thinking this, like I know everyone's crybaby cheesing online about the wages and stuff, like who would have thought, but like I don't think people really understand that like this is like in my entire lifetime, this would be the biggest. This would not only be the biggest like signing I think Arsenal have made. It would be one of the biggest Premier League signings of all time, and like I don't mind paying 150 mil. I'm worried a little bit about signing on bonus. I will say, like how much is that going to get up to? Like, how many agents are going to be like, "How I want money, I want money." Like, that's a bit because I feel like a fee of like 130 mil is like he's got a year left on his deal. He's still like one of the best players in the world. And then I feel like everyone wins in that situation because then they can just buy
Yeah.
Diamande with the same like less money, and then it's like they've made it up. So I'm like that. I don't care about the fee. I don't expect if we buy Vinny, I don't expect any other forwards to come in. Like, and I think all week I've been saying that, like, I genuinely think the reason why Arsenal have been so penny pinching on Bruno and other deals is because we're waiting to see what we can do with the attack. And I don't think it's just reliant on Vinny, right? I think it's reliant on Alvarez and
Mhm.
like other things. I do worry though, and I've said this before, that like I do think we are tunneling ourselves a little bit into getting Vinny or Alvarez, and that kind of be it because I'm in a situation where Martinelli's still not leaving. When Diamande is probably going to go to Real Madrid or PSG, I think that's like confirmed. It's going to happen, one of them. Then you've got Barcola probably go Liverpool, I would imagine. They seem to be really pushing for that. I mean, I don't know if that goes through, but I would imagine they're pushing for that. And then I don't know, you're just running out of players, really, aren't you? Like Williams, like it's a pipe dream. Does that guy ever want to leave Bilbao? Like probably not. Like so, I'm like, we are in a situation where it's almost desperation, but I would pay huge amount of money to get. Genuinely, if we bought like a defender, maybe two defenders, Bruno and Vinny, like the improvement of the team would be so good because of the quality of the two players that we got in the attacking areas to help us would just be so unbelievable. And like I couldn't imagine someone like Vinny like Arsenal. It is funny. He is a bit of a prick. A lot of people don't like him. And it's just so weird because he is like a global superstar. He's a Galactico. He's a guy that's won the Champions League. He's a guy that like properly won it, not like like he's not like won 5 Premier League titles like Jesus because he's got a couple of goals here or there. Actually is a massive part of like world football. Like even in this World Cup, I was actually very, very impressed with him in this World Cup, and he's been quite bad for Brazil, like ever historically. I thought this World Cup he was incredible. I thought he was the best player in Brazil for quite a bit, and it's just like we're just gonna have a whole Brazilian team because we're gonna get Bruno, Vini. We're just get a whole team. Let's get Rayan. What other Brazilians do I like? That's it, really.
I like the way you've had to stop because that's the quality of the Brazilian team these days. So,
Yeah,
Rayan,
like even like when you're thinking like Allison, would I take Allison? Probably not. Like, what's the point?
no.
I think he's been getting worse and worse every year.
Tavares, yeah.
So it's like I wouldn't even take him, So it's like I don't know. It genuinely their team is really bad. It's like someone said about that. No, don't get into it again. But like I don't know, man. This is just so weird to me because it does still seem like a pipe dream, like this whole Vinny thing. But it all just comes down to what Real Madrid want to do. And if Real Madrid actually do go, right, we're going to sell him. It's not what, like, we need to get money for him. I genuinely think that's actually very smart for Real Madrid, right? I don't think they are detrimental to do that. It's not like it's worked either. Yeah, no, they won the treble a couple of years ago, but they've won no trophies in 2 years. I don't think people realize that that's such a. It's Real Madrid. I mean, they've been worse than us in the Champions League 2 years in a row, and they've won nothing. But that's
I get
crazy.
such satisfaction out of that sentence.
That's just crazy to think. Like in my lifetime, that I would be thinking like we are. I definitely I think a better team than Real Madrid, but certainly a
100%.
team that is like on the same sort of level. And obviously they still probably regard a little bit more in the transfer market stuff. It is Real Madrid, but like it's just like it's crazy to think we're on that level. And like people like Vinny, I saw Liverpool also got offered him, but Liverpool need to spend money. A lot of these teams don't know where they're going to spend money on because they just don't know the value of players. I've realized this throughout this summer. It's actually a guesswork. I have an idea of how much people would cost, but then obviously they go up in price because of other transfers, and I think that's been messing with a lot of people. But I don't know, man. I don't care. Just pay the money. I don't care if we break the everything for him. And I will say, I didn't want to speak too much. I wanted to leave it to you, but I want to talk about what it does to the team if he is to join. But I'll let you speak for a bit and I'll get onto that in a bit.
I mean, it's interesting you just brought up fee because I reckon 150, which is insane money. But if we spent 150 in this current market, I'd go.
It's not that bad, is it? Like,
yeah. I go, okay, well, Morgan Rogers has cost 117. I'm like, that is mental. There's madness that he is. I mean, and people will go, oh, like the market's the market. And I was playing devil's advocate on TDK Plus on the squad, and I kind of said, I think George said, well, if there's mad people around, crazy people around, you don't do the same as the crazy people. And I said, well, if the crazy person sets fire to the building or the house, everyone panics and everyone has to respond. And I think some people thought I meant the house being Arsenal. And I was like, no. When I mean the crazy people setting fire, I mean Man City and Chelsea and Tottenham setting fire to the transfer market, because that's what's happened. So right now it's like the sane part of me is looking at the Morgan Rogers deal going 117 million. And then the other side of me is going, well, everything's getting expensive. Look at Tonali. Look at, I don't know, Fernandez. Look at Anderson. There's so many deals at the moment. But I think, right now we're looking at the biggest signing we could possibly do. And probably, as you say, I'd say it's got to be top 10 biggest signings in Premier League history. And I don't mean financially, I just mean in terms of profile. Because who's up there? You got Haaland was a massive, massive deal. I'm trying to think of like players coming in. It's hard because...
I mean, I feel like I'm not really qualified to talk about this. Like, I feel like I missed like 15 years of Premier League action.
Yeah, true. I think a lot of the time we haven't bought players at their peak from clubs, especially from like Barcelona, Real Madrid. That just doesn't happen.
We buy them when their like stocks are down, have had a bad year.
Yeah.
I know it won't be in the top 10 of the league, but when we bought Sanchez, like Sanchez came off an unbelievable season for Barcelona when we bought him. Like with Özil was like a little bit thrown out. There wasn't like he wasn't, for us it was a major thing at the time. I mean, I was like 12 or 13 years
Mm.
old when Özil signed, but like that, I remember he kind of got replaced by Di Maria. There was other things going on. I remember when Sanchez signed for Arsenal, he had like 30, 40 goal contributions for Barca that season, won them the league or something. And I was like,
Yeah, I
that's
think
insane.
the difference was that, like Ronaldo personally was like, I don't want Özil to leave. Like that is not happening. Whereas
Yeah.
at Barcelona, I think they looked and were like, well, you're not starting. Like regardless of how many goals
Yeah.
and assists you've got, like the the history of that club and attackers is just obscene. If only we could have had some of the attackers they've had, which is funny because I mean some of the comments in here have said about it. But actually, should we go through some of the comments? Because guys, you've been putting them in. We've been ignoring you. I do apologize. Let's start with Sak Doodoo. Still think Vinny could wreck the dressing room harmony for her. Yeah, to a certain extent. I think my take in this has changed a little bit. Context is important. So I think the last time we probably talked about that in essence is before we won the title. I just feel that now we've got to a Champions League final. Now we've actually got over the line in the Premier League. We've beaten Real Madrid. And like you say, at this current moment, I'd argue we are far better than Real Madrid now. Like there's few Real Madrid players I'd want now, which is a big claim. But years gone by, I'd be like, just give me anyone. That just roll a little spinner with all of their names, and I'll take anyone. But now I'm like, I don't know. I'm not too sure. But I think because of that, Vinicius might come in. I mean, he's never going to be like a Bukayo Saka. It's just not within his nature anyway. But I do think he might understand the system, and he might look at certain things and go, okay, yeah, if I want to go win the Champions League, I do have to do this. And of course, when you look across at PSG don't do it in the same way as us, but I'd argue they are a pretty cohesive unit. They've dropped this Galactico tag, and they do what needs to be done. So I'm hoping for that reason, Vinicius might be able to come over and be a little less, I don't know, controversial, rock the boat a little less than I previously thought. But I mean, I don't know. Like that, it's mad because even when you're looking at Jose Mourinho going over there, like Jose's said some interesting comments about him, in the recent years. You've then got the whole narrative of Xavi
Oh yeah.
Alonso. So you got
Yeah.
Alonso now at Chelsea, who he kind of got out of Real Madrid.
Yeah.
So there's little narratives kind of being played as well, little things. There's so much of this deal that just on its own, it'll be interesting to see what happens.
Yeah, I feel like for me, what the problem is with like mentality and like how people fit in certain groups, you just never know until you see it. It's something I was speaking about with Soles. I made a video about his whole life and how he came to Arsenal, and his
That was such a good video. Don't go watch it now, people. Go watch it after. But
Thank you, mate.
actually, I was like, oh my man, I wish we'd actually talked about this stuff because I was learning stuff from your video, and I was like, oh man,
It was much more like it was a little tactical at the end, but it's much more like his like actual story. Yeah, like, and I feel like with him, I had the knowledge to speak about that. Like I don't always have that with players, but I feel like with him, I knew his personality. Like in the video, I spoke about the moment where he takes the pen for Dusseldorf and he scored the winner penalty by chipping the ball down the middle, where he missed the penalty for Norwich against Liverpool and took it off someone else, and ruined his reputation there. And like while I can see these mentality aspects of how he thinks, and like how he believes in himself. And I've heard stuff about him like behind the scenes. Like I know people around Norwich and people have spoke to him, and I kind of know things a little bit, but I never really know how that's going to transpire into a team and actually what the guy's like. Right, this is still in a sporting aspect we're talking about, so it's two different things. Like how I am when I play sports and how I am when I'm not playing sports are two different people, and I'm sure that's the same with many people.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, so like when I look at someone like Soles, when I was watching his interviews, I think he came across really, really well in his interviews because he seems like slightly confident. He seemed a bit shy, but then he didn't seem as shy as Gyökeres, who just like couldn't speak at all when he came in and just didn't give us anything. He seemed a little bit more willing to be like, oh yeah, and talk a bit more, and I liked that. And I do think, I mean, I know a lot of people are saying like he likes tennis, he likes all these cool stuff, and I like he likes Saka and all that, and that's cool. And I think he came across really well in all the media. By the way, the media didn't get uploaded to the YouTube channel, and then the website barely works, and it's just like, what are we doing here?
You got
But
a thing for the website at the moment. You're
bro, it's like
you're
my job relies on it. I needed to sort it out. Like
I need to
before
find out who is
pre-season
in charge
starts.
of that website and
Bro,
then do a
they changed
Misfits
the
boxing
player
match
on the
between you and
game,
them.
so I can't go right on my arrow key and it skips anymore. I genuinely don't even think people realize, but that has probably made my job like 3 hours longer
What?
every day. So thanks, guys. I appreciate for changing the player for no reason. I love it, guys. Thank you. um,
I'd put in a request to get rid of that option. I hated that function, so
bro, it's so funny because as I obviously I watch I basically go on every website of every big team and go on like their players and stuff. Chelsea's is free, best player in the world, absolutely insane. City, you have to pay a fiver for. Liverpool, you have to pay a fiver for. I tried to get a Burnley game last year, Burnley Arsenal. They put the Burnley game on first before they put the Arsenal game on. Fiver. I'm paying a fiver to watch a guys. Yeah, I know you've been promoted and you need the money, but like, come on. We don't need to pay. Arsenal don't charge, and I'm thankful for that. But if they did charge, I would pay it because like I need it, and I don't mind. I don't mind
needs must.
funding my club more than I like funding others. I prefer to fund Arsenal if anything. But like I don't know, like with all Solis' things, I thought he came off quite well, and I think with Vinny, when I look at this situation, is that a lot of people say I've spoke to quite a lot of people about this specifically, like because this Vinny thing's been going on for a while now, and this has always been the conversation we've had about this. And I've spoken to so many people over the last couple of months about like where do you think this would happen? And I've seen a lot of people say that Arsenal have such a tight knit, clearly quite cemented group, probably
Yeah.
one of the most cemented, like less tension groups out there. Like we've had this, a lot of the same players have been there for many years. I know we signed 8 players last summer, but even then, I'd say a lot of the leaders are cemented. We've had players for a while now. The manager's been the same for 6 years, so it's very much like we know what we're going to get with Arsenal. You don't get this at any other club ever. Like
Yeah.
you did at City, but obviously not anymore, and you haven't really had it anywhere else. And I think with like Vinny, a lot of people say to me, if your core unit is so good, not one player won't come in and mess that up. And the thing is, I never really know how much Vinny is to blame for stuff because I think a lot of people don't like his antics on the pitch. Sometimes people, sometimes the things that he does on the pitch are a bit insane. Sometimes I don't think they're that bad. People like over drag them because that is Vinny. And I think that he is always seen as this sort of punching bag. But I feel like Mbappe is much more like, has been much more like, I don't know, public with things he said. He does posts when he's not happy on Insta. There's certain
Mhm.
things with Mbappe, and I still love Mbappe. I think Mbappe's incredible. I wouldn't care. His guy's too good, like, to care about these things, in my opinion. But with Vinny, I just never know. I feel like he's always been lumped into these sort of situations. And genuinely, I think Vinny, the best club he could go to is Arsenal, not in an arrogant way at all. I think it makes the most sense with a team
Yeah,
with the
I
best
actually agree with that.
team in the world that needs an elite forward, best team, because all the other teams that are on our level, which is Bayern, PSG, maybe City, and yeah, maybe you can count Barcelona, all of them have great attacks and like a pretty mid in other areas. Where our defense, our midfield, it's all class. It's the best in the world, but it's the attack which is clearly the issue. It's like not even like hard to like anyone can tell you that. Like, I don't even attack this guy. Anyone knows that. So he would come in. He'd not only be like the main guy. Everything would go around him. We've also got so many people that easily would get along with him. If we sign Bruno, you got Bruno. You've got. I mean, I
Yeah.
think Martinelli might stay. You've got Gabriel. We've already got a big Brazilian contingency here. And I just think it makes the most sense to him. So I'm just like, surely he would come in, he'd make friends with people, and it wouldn't be too bad. I don't know. Maybe we could convert him, but I don't think it will. I don't think one player can really disrupt it. I think what would disrupt our backroom more is if Arteta left, because I think he is
Oh,
the foundation of it all. Also, if Mikel
yeah.
Marino left, because he's the best in the world. But
The glue, as Rohan always refers them to.
I know.
I mean, yeah, it's so interesting because my concern is not like one player disrupting everything. I think that always feels like there's one guy who just ruins everything. You know, like there's a one bloke at the party who takes it too far. But my thinking behind it is if you start to get a disruptive group, so say like, I mean, it is really interesting that two of the most prominent people that we've been linked with now, Vinicius and Bruno, are two people with real extreme kind of behavior, especially on the pitch. Like they're two people that just leave it all out there, rightly or wrongly. They are very vocal and they show how they feel with their actions. And I think it's probably no coincidence that we've just missed out on the Champions League, like by one kick. And Arteta, it looks like, has kind of had discussions and gone, maybe that's what we need now. Maybe we need someone to go that extra mile, whether that is, you know, buying a free kick, whether it's just beating a man, whether it's having the kind of the minerals to take a shot from stupidly far out. Like you need some kind of X factor. And while that is something to be worried about, surely they've done their homework. Like Arteta is, I mean, he's obsessive. We're well aware of that. So he would be looking at every minute thing, and he would have had conversations with Gabby about, you know, do you think these are the right type of personalities? What are they like in the camp? What are they like? You know, do they stay where they're meant to be? Are they going out in the evenings? Who are they? Who's in their social circles? Like they would have been doing the same with Martinelli. I just can't see the club just going blindly, going, "Ah, yeah, we'll just get him in." So they would have done due diligence. And this is the amazing thing. Like, hopefully, it not only solves the left side, it suddenly marries up quite well, I think, with Bruno and how Bruno plays. And from originally at the beginning of the summer, going, whatever deals we do this year, the right hand side is going to outperform the left hand side, and we are going to be more right bias. Now I'm looking, going, you get Vinny in, you get Bruno in. I can see Declan Rice cheating to the right from a 6 location. Um, and suddenly you're going Calafiori, Bruno, and Vinny. Like, jeez, I mean, that changes everything. Like in terms of wingers, wing pairings in world football, like it's right up there. It's right up there with Rafinha and Yamal. It's up there with like Elise and whoever Bayern want to play
Oh
on the
my
other
god,
side. But
it's so
do you know what I mean? You're like,
like
you're
yeah,
suddenly
it's so
looking, going, holy crap! Like we've gone from, like you say, one of the world's most elite teams with a real problem in attacking areas to suddenly going, hang on a minute. I can see Kai Havertz playing in there and facilitating and dropping in. I can see us playing like different systems, and suddenly we've got transitional threat out of nowhere. Oh my god! Like like
yeah, like
passing
we
between the
had
lines with Bruno
say.
and stuff, Vinny, and like it just changes everything. And it's the first time I've had us linked. Like I love Alvarez, absolutely love Julian Alvarez. Oh, if we could get him, unbelievable signing. But this one has genuinely made me so excited. Like it's way more excited about it than, I mean, when was the last time I wasn't this excited with Declan Rice? Like, don't kill me in the comments for it. But like I thought brilliant signing. But this is like another level of signing. This is, as I said, this is like the Dennis Bergkamp one where you go, oh my god, this is a top player. Like, and it just changes the way we play. I think it not only does that, but a little bit of bingo here, because I like to do a bit of bingo. It sends a message. It sends a message to the Premier League. It sends a message to Europe. Like suddenly we
It's,
are
it's
acting like big boys.
Now, I will say I've heard that like a couple of players need to leave for wages, so I would imagine that's put people like Jesus, who's
Mhm.
still there on £4 billion a week. Uh, Reece Nelson, who's on about 100K because we gave him a new contract. He
Yeah.
played well for like 3 games, and we couldn't be asked to sign a back. I mean, that do you know what's so funny about this? We literally gave Reece Nelson a 100K a week contract because we were like, "Oh yeah, you're going to be our backup because he had a couple of good games."
It
Then
was
yet
to
again, he
protect the value, wasn't it? Was that the phrase they
well,
used?
yeah, and like the funny thing is that obviously he got injured, it didn't work, and then a year and a half later we signed 50 million Madueke anyway. So it's like, well, it was a
Yeah.
pointless thing. I get they can't see in the future, but like it's like I don't know, man. I could have told you that he was going to get injured again. I don't know. I could have told you that. Like, I've seen so many memes about like they've looked at Arsenal's trading. It's just that everyone coming back and they're like Fabio Vieira, Reece Nelson,
Oh.
Jesus. It's like awful. We need to get these guys gone, man. I don't even care. Just get these brothers gone out of their
How do you
wages.
feel? Like, I know it's not on the Vinny conversation, but just on that, like, say Fabio Vieira, do we now have to look at in this current market and go, we got to make our money back now? Because
I
I mean,
yeah. I mean,
surely
I
we
would hope,
can't. But
but
like, I'd be like, well, just get rid of him for 10 mil. But like,
we're
I
just
look
so
now and
bad
think
at sales, man.
the market is insanity.
Not
I
for
don't
us
know.
though.
It's like something,
It's I
when
would.
you play Football Manager and it goes on for a couple of years and you start to get these mad transfer fees going around. That's what it feels like. It doesn't feel like it's real. It's like some kind of
It
fever
just
dream.
doesn't feel like with us. I feel I just don't even know. Like I feel like a lot of it is clubs to clubs being very friendly with each other. You see this with this whole Palace, Villa,
Well,
Chelsea
this
thing.
Garnacho deal and Jackson deal. Let's looked
and
at it.
and and the Crocs and like people
Yeah.
going each way. Like these guys are friendly. PSR's a reason, but they've also been friendly before. Like I don't think Arsenal are necessarily with Berta going around making friends. It seems like we are pissing everyone off, other than Chelsea. It just does seem everyone hates us, which I don't think helps. It's like I've been talking about I want Ivan Fresneda, but it's like I don't think Sporting like us from last year. So it's like, is that going to be a pain in
Oh
the ass?
God, yeah, I didn't
Then,
even think
then
that.
it might be, and then it's like that was a whole deal last year. And I remember last year being like, I don't want to do deals with them again, and I want to. So it's just like, oh, just go with someone else. But like, I find the biggest like realization to me, because I've always been quite more lenient on the whole sell thing with Arsenal, because I understand everything's very contextualized, like certain situation, every situation is different, right? But I'm seeing Chelsea sell players where I'm like, it makes sense to sell Garnacho for 40 mil. I know there's PSR things about it, but it makes sense because I still think he's a young talent that has
Mhm.
ability there, and you don't want to get rid of him. But then I look at people like Martinelli, and I'm like, Martinelli's 24, and apparently we asked for 45 million pounds, and no one wants to pay that. And I'm like, okay, well, this is why I'm getting a bit crazy, because like Martinelli is just like a player that I'm sitting there being like, in this market should be worth 60 mil. And it's
Yep.
like, and the funny thing is, it's not even a situation where it's like, oh, who does he fit? I'm sorry. Atletico Madrid, what are you doing? Pick up the
Oh
phone.
God, he was
It's
so good there.
I made a tweet the other day saying Arsenal and Atletico Madrid are the most hilarious teams in the world, because there's about 4 players for each team that would be better on the other side. Gyökeres would be
Yeah,
better at
Gyökeres,
Atleti. Alvarez would
Martinelli.
be better at Arsenal. What's his name? Buena would be better at Arsenal. They don't play him.
Oh,
And
I
and then
had him on my list last year, didn't I?
Martinelli would be better for them. And then it's like I look at this and I'm like, why don't these teams have managers that are very, very similar, just generally, like not maybe like all the time, but they are in how they manage, they are the same in terms of like how they conduct a team, and they've been a part of their team for a long time. And that's probably why Roberta joined us, because it's a very similar structure of club. So it's like
Mm.
it's just like, what are they doing, man? They just brought Lee Kang in, who I don't mind, for like 30 mil, 34 mil. That's cool, whatever, cool. But they have got so many players on the wings where I'm just like, oh my god, Nico Gonzalez, what's he doing there? Buena, what's he doing there? They pay 50 mil for these guys. They're not playing. Do you
Mm.
know and then they replace him with Lookman? And it's like, oh, Lookman, is he going to be even play? Like
God,
he was
yeah.
good, but then like it's like, bro, we're getting through so many of just players and plays attackers that they kill. They kill every attacker. We kill attackers, but not as bad as they do. They're worse than
Mm.
us. And I
And they
just
never
think like,
used to be. That's like a recent history thing. They used to have, I
yeah,
mean,
I mean
like the
strikers.
Agueros, Torres, who else do they have? Oh my
One
God,
guy, one guy,
Falcao, and
one guy. We're all forgetting, guys.
yeah, I'm not saying his name.
Diego
Um,
Forlan, woo! What a beast. Yeah, they've had loads like Suarez, Costa, like Aguero, like yeah,
yeah.
like you said, they had all these guys. David Villa, like they've
Oh my
but
God, what a player.
but they just like I don't know. That was more of a striker thing. I always think like Carrasco was always okay for them, but I feel like a lot of people forget like they used to
We
get to
relate to
Champions League
him.
finals and their wingers were just like I don't know.
Mm.
Like Turan was is it Turan was good. The Turkish guy was really good for a while, but like
Oh,
I don't know,
yeah.
they were so inconsistent. I felt like a lot of the time their strikers would do a lot of the hard carrying. They scored like 40 goals, but I don't know, man. Like Gabriel Martinelli in the Liga for Atletico Madrid would be perfect. He does all the defensive work, or does all the what run in for you. He
Mhm.
can go in the middle. You can play him much more centrally. They play a 4-4-2. So if you play him out on the left, he's already deeper, so he can just do defensive work. And then you can play him in a 4-4-2 up front on the left side. And he'd be great. And like 45 minutes. And he's better than Lookman. I'm gonna be real with you. He's better than Lookman. Like, so I just don't get it. And I'm like, Barcelona, I mean, maybe not now because they've signed like 4 billion attackers, but there was definitely a point in time where I'm like, he could have been all right. I think PSG have been slightly linked to like
Mhm.
Martinelli. I don't really get it, but then I guess I think he could play a bit of a striker role if they
How
sell some of
much
those.
how much is he worth in this market? Because I think before I would have gone, wow, about 60. Because especially Champions League, he just performs. His age is good. He's like really experienced now. Like, how many wingers do you get as well who have that work rate? There's not many. So he's got a lot of pros. And I think sometimes us being Arsenal fans or Premier League fans in general look at Martinelli and look at output only. I think in other leagues, like you say, if he was at Atletico Madrid, he absolutely
It'd be
could.
so good.
But
It's just
like I said yesterday, that Madueke deal, I'm looking at now going, not as bad as I thought it was for that money.
uh,
Whereas I was horrified by it originally, and now we're going like, what? The market's just gone mental, like
and
mental.
it's
I mean,
like
Nathan here,
how can we
75 mil. Like, yeah.
the thing is that that's his value, but we just won't get it, and I don't know why. Like, I don't understand why Arsenal is so bad in these players where I can justify teams that would want him, and I can justify a lot. I can just like even if we sold a Martinelli for 50 mil, and I would say that's a little bit below. I'd just be like, "Well,
Yeah.
it is. That's good money." I don't even think we're going to get that. Like, we're looking at 35 mil range. It's like at that point, just keep
Surely we
him.
got to. I
And
mean,
and that, and I've been thinking about this a lot recently. I was thinking like, I've been thinking about this a lot with the Alvarez situation because I really, really let's say we get Alvarez and we don't get Vinny or whatever. I just don't get it. I don't understand from a
mm,
squad building perspective what we're gonna do because I Alvarez can play up front by himself. I think some people have dragged it a bit. He can play as a false nine. He wouldn't be a proper striker. He'd be a false nine. He wouldn't sit in the box. He'd come a lot deeper, which is genuinely fine because Arsenal are better with false nines. I don't hate it.
yeah,
But he's always been better when he's against a physical player next to him. Havertz and Alvarez together would probably be Arsenal's best attack, like not including
yeah,
Vinny. Like if
love
Vinny's
to
not
see
here, that
that.
would be Arsenal's by far best attack, I think. And I think that can get us another title. But if we sell Gyökeres in this deal, we sell Jesus. There are only two strikers, and we can't. Havertz has been injured for a year and a half.
Mikel Marino.
Well, yeah, I guess Mkhitaryan is an option. To be fair, he could be the Havertz replacement, and then like who would be your Alvarez replacement? I would put Martinelli there. I think
Oh,
if that
yeah, first.
happens, Martinelli has to stay, and Martinelli just has to be used as a backup striker, and I think it'd be way better, and it'll be fine. But then it's like it's still four strikers for two striker spots in the 11 is a lot, you know. So like a lot like in the World Cup we saw it. Teams that played
Mhm.
two up front picked like 5 or 6 strikers because they were like, well, obviously we need more. And I worry a little bit. And I'm like, then you look at the left wing. If you've just got Martinelli coming into inside, who we got as a left winger, Zoles, and it's like that's it.
Yeah,
And so Eze, I guess you could move out there if you're moving to a 2 midfield because then that would make sense. And I don't mind that. That's the only way I can somewhat justify the Alvarez deal happening. But even then,
yeah.
it's like we are relying a lot on players not to get injured. We've only got 2 players for each spot, and that's already a worry in my opinion. So I'm like, I don't get it. Like I don't get it because like some players are gonna have to stay. And I think as long as the summer goes on, I mean, if we sign Vinny, I think Martinelli will probably go. But I
Yeah.
don't think I think Martinelli might stay. And if we get if teams want to come in for 30 mil, then we're gonna be like, no. I think
No,
Gyökeres, low key, is gonna leave out of anyone.
no,
I think it's
I
the
I
most likely.
I looked at Liverpool last year, and one of the big problems they've had is letting Nunez go, letting Diaz go. Like, that's sometimes you can't. as much as we all want to, and I think it's probably that grass is always greener and like, oh yeah, like let's refresh the squad. But he knows how the game's played here. He knows what the manager demands of him. He does a lot that probably doesn't suit his game anyway, like so I look at him going, well, we could use him in Europe. He's one of if we get rid of him, he is the only player with true pace in our team. Like searing pace. And I think if you lose him, you've got to get someone in who is a guarantee because we're losing Trossard as well. So it's that thing of, and this was my one issue with the Morgan Rogers like deal was that not only if we bought him in, but losing that thing of if you can't get in one of the top shelf players, and I said earlier at the top of the show that Diamande, Barcola, or Vinny, you're then looking at like Nico Williams or Kenan Yildiz, which again aren't, perfect players.
Yildiz is not gettable. I don't know about Nico, but Yildiz is just not gettable.
No, I mean, he signed a deal last year as well, didn't he?
Yeah, and it's like, it's just.
But say if you could, even if you could get him, I don't know how much of a guarantee they are. And you're then asking a lot of them to, go and hit the ground running in the Premier League and Champions League.
Yeah.
Joe,
it's funny because out of all the players you mentioned, and people won't agree with this, but I don't really care. I've had enough of people just telling me what I just think. I'm so sick of Twitter. I can't even believe. My God, like people put Yildiz on a level that I don't necessarily think he's at right now. But I also know a lot of people don't watch Yildiz, and I watch him loads. I've watched him for like 3 years, every game nearly, like loads. I've been so interested in this guy's career. I think Nico Williams isn't a necessarily better player, but Nico Williams would be the best fit as a winger, I think, in the entire market. I mean, Vinny's a bit different, right? Because Vinny's just world class and he's just great at a lot of things. So it's just like, I don't know, man. You play Vinny in a role where he's not even the best. He's going to do something because it's Vinny. So it's a bit hard to judge in that perspective. But I think Nico Williams, genuinely, for how we play, is like, he's self-sustainable. He can play out wide as a wide player by himself, isolate. He can come inside. He can cross well. He can pass well. I know people will say like, "Oh, yeah, but crossing's not." A lot of people look at his crossing stats, or a lot of people say his crossing's inconsistent. But it's like, well, crossing's a stupid stat to go by, really, because it's like
crossing number's quite good. I'm sure his crossing
yeah. I
mean,
really
high.
I mean, if anyone, do you know what is funny? After the World Cup final, I came away. Bear in mind, Nico Williams has been injured the entire tournament. I came away from that final being like, you know what? He came on and was really good. I thought all the subs that Spain did were really good. But I thought he came on and was really, really good. Like, I know there's a couple of things he did which weren't great. Like, he got into the area and he made that like skill and it fell out. But I spoke to about 5 different people on Twitter and everyone was like, yeah, he was awful. I was like, what? I was like, he created like 4 chances.
Didn't he have a goal disallowed as well? He got the assist.
He also should have got an assist where he did that great cross from Marino, and Marino just missed. Like, and it was like, I was like, when you and even when he got into that area where he made that big mistake in the second half, where he should just like pass the ball across. The way he gets into that is because he takes on the player, cuts inside, and just absolutely outpaces him. And we have no one on our team that could do that, man. And it's like people are just saying, "Oh, it was bad." I was like, "Nah, man. People don't know what they're looking at." I was like, "That performance was really, really impressive." I thought, considering he's been injured for like 3 months, and the thing is, oh my God, like online, I think people are just insane. Every single person who's spoken about Alvarez over you. I don't even want to talk about Alvarez and Gyökeres because I'm so fed up. And I felt speaking about Gyökeres online, I've been fed up for about 8 months, to be real with you. It has been such a daunting and horrible experience that I want him to leave the club because I just don't want him.
Just because you're over that.
Yeah, just because of that. I don't even care if he stays. I'm not like strong on either opinion. I would lean to leave it, to making it leave. But it all depends on deals and finances, who comes in. Like, it matters a lot on other factors that I don't know. But oh my God, it's just the amount of people that are like, oh, Alvarez only scored 8 league goals last season and Gyökeres scored 17. It's like, oh yeah, oh my. We're a better team than Atletico Madrid. Did anyone watch Atletico Madrid play? Atletico Madrid play every single time they play.
We smashed them.
Exactly. And we played, and every single time they play, especially at the start of the season, when they played teams that they didn't get the ball against, they were awful. And you're asking a lot from Alvarez, right? A lot of the attacking dynamics are Alvarez, you pick the ball up from the halfway line and carry halfway up the pit, half the whole pitch, and then create something for Soloff. He's just going to stand there looking dumb and hope for a cross.
I
And that's what
forgot Soloff.
and
Oh
that's
my
what their game
God.
plan was for so much of the season when Griezmann, his legs had gone because he's in his 30s. And that makes sense.
Hey, none of that slander.
And I was just so fed up because it's like one of them things where it's like it's the same with when people look at them stupid pie charts on Twitter and they're like, wow. And it's like, oh my God, they're all contextualized, especially like
Mhm.
in positions in football. How players are played in systems is completely different to how other players are played. Like comparing, I've
It
seen
would
it
be
like,
like Solace right now. If you go and
yeah,
look at his
yeah.
little pie
It's
chart
like
or radar thing or
best
whatever
out of
it is.
anyone,
Yeah.
best player in the world.
Yeah, I mean, genuinely, his stats must be right up there. Same as Gyökeres before he came to us. And
Exactly. And it's
it's
like,
exactly that. It's like the league you're playing in, the system you're playing in, the teams you're playing
it's
against.
so like, oh, it's just it gets it's so annoying. Like, I think Alvarez would be a better fit for Arsenal than Gyökeres. I think
Yep.
Gyökeres did limit Arsenal in some ways last year. I also think there were some ways that we wanted to play more direct anyway. I don't think it's just on Gyökeres because I think we did it with or without it, and I think we will continue to still do it. But I just think like it depends on money, right? If it's like 100 mil plus Gyökeres, I'm like, okay, that's got a lot of money, you know.
Mm.
I don't know about that. I don't think he's worth all that. Um, but Alvarez does have way more X factor quality. I've seen people say like he didn't do much for Argentina. Yeah, Argentina were awful the whole tournament. Everyone knew that they were crap. Messi just carried them, but Alvarez did score an absolute screamer against like Egypt to win them the game and get them through an extra time. So it's not like he did nothing. So, like he did do something. And I've seen no one talk about Gyökeres, who only really like did anything against Tunisia. So it's just like one of them things where like he's still going to work really hard, which I care about and Arteta cares about. He's determined. He's played in the Prem before. I've seen people say that his time in the Prem was awful. I actually made a video about how he was Man City's best player 6 months before he left, which I don't make Man City videos
I
very
remember
often.
them.
So
I distinctly remember having a conversation with someone saying they look better with him than with Haaland at one point because they hadn't
yeah,
really worked out how to play with Haaland, and they just looked so fluid. But
and
yeah,
they were better with both of them. Like with them to
yeah.
get like Alvarez really. I think it was the end of the 22-23 season because it was the first year I started. No, it was the end of the 23-24. No, I don't know when it was. It was one of them years. It was one of the years I started doing content.
One of the
Whenever
years that Alvarez was playing for City.
it was the year before he left. And I remember I did a video in the December of that year about him. It got like no views because it was a City video and I had about 10K subs at the time. But like, I remember doing that video and I remember I did a lot of analysis on it. And I was like, this guy's actually just him. And I remember at the time thinking, like, this guy's the best player at Man City because he was doing everything. He was doing everything for Haaland. He was such a good false nine. And that was somewhat as a secondary striker, right? Which is like, I
Mhm.
still think his best role. And I just do think there is ways that I would prefer Alvarez in the team and over Gyökeres. And I think like I don't think Gyökeres is going to get any better. Look, some people have said to me like he got better at the end of the year. Maybe he can do that more. And I was like, yeah, that is true. You're not wrong. But there's also lots of aspects about that. Like lots of teams are getting tired. I think Gyökeres' best part about him is his engine. I think
Yeah.
I think in terms of working hard, being resilient, not getting injured very often, always running. I think that's stuff that Gyökeres is good at. And I think that
Like against
at the end of
Atleti,
the
he was like that. Like that's
and I almost think that that makes him better at the end of the season, if
mhm,
you know what I mean, like because it allows you to run at teams that maybe are a bit tired, like we saw it against us with certain teams doing that against us. So I
mhm.
don't know, man. Like I just would take Alvarez over Gyökeres, but like I said to you, I feel like we need another striker. Maybe they'll just. I reckon if this happens in this make believe world, that we'll end up just buying like a Chisoldi for 30 mil or a Etiti Young, who is at Levante for like 30 mil, because we've been linked
Mhm.
to these players a lot. So I wouldn't be
Yeah.
surprised if we just went and gone, nah, let's just get a young striker in. Like, it is what it is.
I mean, Nathan's put like, am I the only one who wants Gyökeres to stay? Like, I go back and forth. I'm not. I'm not in one camp or the other. I don't think it's healthy sometimes to be like, we've got to get rid of that player. We've got to move him on. Like Gyökeres. At the end of the day, I look at Gyökeres and go, yeah, he didn't suit us that well, but without him, we wouldn't have won the league last year. Having said that, I think if you got in a different profile player like an Alvarez and he's fit the whole time, you probably would have won the league anyway. I think it probably says more about the amount of injuries we had last season than anything. So like I'm not kind of in or out. It's a case of if you can get someone who's going to perform better for the team, yeah, cool. Maybe move Jokeres on, but to move him on for the sake of it, and that is just lunacy. Because, like you say, like Marino, we haven't been able to, ironically, depend on him with injuries because prior to him coming, he'd never got injured. Then he comes up against Gabriel Magalhaes, and then he realizes what an injury is. And then Havertz has had his own problems with injuries. Like, I just look at him and go, oh, do you want to change another thing for the sake of it? Like, unless it's for
Yeah.
someone really, really good, even like a Krupi, who I love. I look at him and go, if we got him, it would be the closest to like an Anelka type thing we've had at Arsenal, where we've got a real, real young prospect at centre forward. But he's more of a, and I guess Jesus with Alvarez as well. Like Alvarez and Krupi are more that Jesus role rather than a Jokeres role anyway. So it still changes the system.
Hello. Oh no. Hello.
Hello, sorry, I think I lost you then, mate.
Oh, I'm back.
Just
Hello, guys.
no. Well, I think you lost me, to be honest, not the other way around. But yeah, the deal. Unless you're getting someone really good, and the Vinicius deal changes it, I don't think we're as in need as we previously were for a 9 with Vinicius Junior coming in. That changes the whole complex of it.
Yeah. Yeah. That's why, like, I think the Alvarez conversation around Jokeres is interesting because it is just like Alvarez for Jokeres, let's say, and a bit of money. And I think that's a
Yeah.
much more like plausible deal I can get behind. I can't like I have not I'm like you. I don't really like want to force Jokeres out because I think exactly the points that you made were really correct. Is the fact that like he is the more reliable player, right? He's going to be fit.
Mm-hmm.
As much as he might not play the best, he's going to be at least fit, and that is a headache that we have to think about. And I just don't trust anyone else to be fit. Even in Alvarez, I don't know if he's that resilient. You know, I know that Jokeres is, so it's like
Yep.
I can rely on that. I just think with like people like the reason why it's quite funny because the reason why I'm probably more Jokeres out recently is because I actually just think that Arsenal fans are stupid, and I think that sometimes they just need to be, things need to happen that they just kind of understand. Because it's not even like I care, but all the time on Twitter, like it's the thing that you said about Jokeres winning the title is so true. The amount of people and the amount of comments I've got have been like, "Oh yeah, but Jokeres is 17 goals, won us the title." I was like, you can say that about any single player that we signed last year. They all contributed. Every single player, especially in the attack, no one was that good, so they all contribute. We're kind
Mm-hmm.
of getting this thing with Trossard, right? I
Yep.
wanted Trossard to stay, but everyone kind of forgets about that whole 5-month period where he was awful. Like everyone just forgets about it now because it's fine because he was great at the start of the season and he was great at the end, and that's all that matters. And I remember being halfway through the season saying that it just won't matter if we win the league, people won't think about this stuff. But it's just like people forget. Like keep seeing people talking about like Solid is a great example of this with Trossard, and I don't think he'll be like amazing compared to Trossard in terms of like build up, in terms of certain aspects. I definitely think he'll score more goals than Trossard. That's his
Yep.
role. I mean, if you listen to him and like see him, that's clearly what he cares about. He's a final third guy, and it's like valid. Like I'm not going to hate that. I'm really excited for Soles. I really, really hope this guy does well.
Yeah, I'm
Um,
looking forward to it.
like I actually have anyone. It's like one of them signs we do every year. We do one signing where I'm just like, oh yeah, you know what? Like, cool. I don't know. It's a random ass dude like come in and do stuff. But I just think with like some of the conversations I see where it's like, oh yeah, but Jokeres scored 17 goals. He's our top goal scorer in a league winning season. I understand that. I understand that us Arsenal fans aren't used to winning the league and we're all going a bit crazy here. But Jokeres, I think you're right. If Arsenal had signed any striker, not any striker, but I think if Arsenal signed many strikers last year, we would have still won the league. I genuinely think I would go out here and say, and people won't agree with this, and I don't really care. I would go out and say, if we signed Nicholas Jackson, if we signed Darwin Núñez, if we signed Rasmus Højlund, if we signed I don't know. I could go down the list. If we signed any of these players, we still would have won the league. I genuinely think that. And I genuinely think some of them get to the better goal scoring level. I think Nicholas Jackson is a way better Premier League striker than Gyökeres in terms of like actually like fitting the league. I don't know about a better player overall. That's a different conversation. But I really do think that like a lot of people just kind of like Gyökeres, the 17 goals, right, has to be in context. When was he getting them goals? Scoring the third and fourth goal when we thrashed Leeds 5-0 is cool and everything and fun times, but it doesn't actually impact the game. You know, Mikel Merino, 12 of his goals he scored in the Premier League, 11 of them, like we said before, are the goal-defining goals, that game-defining goals that go from a draw or a win to a game. I think, like, if people look at the stats for Gyökeres, I'm not too informed of them, but I'm pretty sure there's not many. I don't think he scored many goals to make us go win. The only one I really, really, really remember is the Tottenham one, where he scored to make us go 2-1 up. There's a lot of goals that he scored where he scored like 2 against Leeds at home. He scored one. He scored a 1 against Leeds away. That was to make it 3-0. Like he scored like just a couple, maybe a couple of pens. He did score a pen against Everton, which is decisive, but he didn't win. It was just a pen. I'm not giving him that much credit for that. I don't. There's not many times where I sit there and I'd be like, the means justify the ends. I don't think Gyökeres' individual performances as a whole of the season were good enough to justify getting 17 goals.
It's not like he dragged us.
Yeah.
Like, do you know what I mean?
And it's not
but
like he
it's
scored
so hard
loads.
because I think it's fine. Like, it's fine to be in either camp, but I don't think you can just like cement yourself on one side. You can't be like
so
full
nuanced.
on one side or full on the other. Because it's that thing of
argument.
like saying, well, at the same time, he was always taking the pressure on. Like there's very few strikers that actually take the pressure on penalties like he does. Like when he steps up, I go, goal. Like I just know he's like certain, and it's so hard to get that from players. And it's that other thing of like first season, like he's come in and he straight away went in, and we didn't have Havertz, and that must have been really difficult for him to come in for that. He's playing in a completely different league. Like he didn't really have a pre-season. Like there's a lot of things that I think do go in his camp, but again, it just comes back to like. Right now, we are, and I said it to Mel, who used to come on the show. I said to him, we are right now the second best team in world football. I don't think that's really an argument. I think we just
second or third, yeah.
You know, like PSG are first, and then you go second. Yeah, and I'd argue second because the Champions League final, we've won our league. We beat a lot of the other teams that you'd have arguments with. So if you want to get to first, maybe you got to like upgrade a couple of people, or you tactically change. And I think, say a Vinícius, that's an upgrade and it's a tactical change. Bruno is arguably an upgrade, depending on how we use him, and it's definitely a tactical change. So the club are obviously looking at things and going, do you know what's really nice about it? None of these players, I think any of us thought we were going to go in and get. I don't think anyone was going, we'll go get Bruno or we'll go get Vinny. There's probably some people with pipe dreams that did, but like real being reasonable, no one's going to think that. And the club have obviously been working on these because these aren't easy deals to get done, either of these, especially how Newcastle are being kind of thrown to the walls now. Like, they're having their Man City moment when Man City kept on coming in and taking all of our players. It's a massive summer. If we get those two done, Meslier, God, I love Meslier. A Solace.
Batman. It's just Batman. That's what we call him. This reminds you of Batman.
Is that kind of his voice?
Yeah, he's got such a deep voice.
Meslier. I am Meslier. Yeah, like we're looking good.
It's the technical quality just has to go up, in my opinion. And I think if Arsenal fans want to stop watching awful football, which I do personally, I really just can't do another 5 months, which you just did.
Reece.
Yeah, I mean that's fine. Winning's great and everything, but like I don't know, I don't want to like lose all my hair by like 28. I would like to just like some games are going to be stressful, right? But not every game ever should be stressful. And I feel like every Arsenal game last
Yeah, we
season
do
was
make
stressful.
it stressful sometimes. To be
Yeah,
fair,
but
maybe that's part of we haven't got across the line. So like fans and players, it's
I also think it's just the players we have. Look, he doesn't sign
mm,
technical qualities. He just signs meat wall players. We're gonna like. There's a
is
meme
that
in
the
the.
tactical name? Is it?
Yeah, no, a lot of people actually called it meatball. I actually took it from someone else I know in the tactics scene. But like, there's there's um there's a meme in the wrestling community for a couple of years ago now, and it's like, if anyone knows who Vince McMahon is, he basically used to just like, every time that it would come down to making a story in WWE, it would just come down to the fact he wants big men to wrestle. He wants big meat wrestling. And there was this big meme in the community where everyone's like, "Oh, we want to see technical wrestling, we want to see luchador wrestling." And he's like, "No, big meat. If you're 8 foot and you're big, I want to see you wrestle." And it's kind
The amount of times you've said big meat is
of
just throwing me here.
and to be honest, it's kind of like what Arteta sees in football, right? And I have
Mm,
no issue with Arsenal doing physical. I saw some tweets the other day about by someone being like, Arsenal need more like physicality, and I was like, you are dumb. I was like, there's the one thing we've got to.
more.
Yeah, I was
Where are
like,
we putting these
but
guys? Like,
I was like, exactly. I was like, the whole problem with Arsenal is that we've got no technical quality. And I do think a lot of the reason of that is people like Gyökeres, right? We got him in to be a great sharpshooter, but we've realized, other than in the box where he might be a sharpshooter, where he can barely get the ball, he's just a meat. He is a meat. He's a meat wall. The best things about him is
mm,
is the fact that he's like resilient and stable, and he's there, and he's like, somewhat strong. I would argue Gyökeres is not a top 10 strong player at Arsenal. I don't even think he's in the.
no,
I
no.
I don't. I actually think he's one of the
I think
weaker,
he probably is in terms of like if you got him in the gym,
like actual
I bet
strength.
he's like
Yeah,
strong, but his ability to use the ball is like Messi. Messi's not
it's
strong,
balance, isn't it? It's
but he
combination.
is, yeah, your center of gravity, the way you actually move your body. Like I don't think Gyökeres actually understands. If he could go with someone a like a biomechanics coach who could be like, right, we're gonna work on how you set yourself. We're gonna like really, really, if he could do that and didn't have to train for actual football, I think he'd be an absolute beast,
He's
but he
just a
just
bit
doesn't
too
know.
top heavy, isn't he? Like that, like
Mm,
to be, and a lot of people said this when he signed, like he is a little top heavy. So that's why you always see that thing where he like tries to hold off a defender and he'll slip and he'll fall down because
yeah.
he's trying to be low. But he is just like his like chest and arms are bigger than his legs. His legs are like, and that is just how it is. Like he is just top heavy, and that's never going to change, unfortunately, for him. So it's like I get into these situations where I'm like, oh, like even Alvarez for Gyökeres, right? It would make us technically a lot better. Like Alvarez is a much more technician, and I do like that. Like I do think if Arsenal are going, we might not win as many games, maybe, and then that's what people care about. But at least the games would be more fun and would have a chance to come back. I sometimes feel like with Arsenal, unless we throw the kitchen sink at the wall and we're playing 3-10s and wingers and like everyone, when we got to their moments last season, United was a great example where we just threw everyone at them and then we
Yep.
scored from that corner and then we conceded. And I was just like, we can't do this. This isn't sustainable. Like we can't rely on our defense to not concede goals and then have to chase games like this. Like, and if we are chasing games, we just can't do it that well. I don't think. I think like people at Alvarez help that. And do you know what's funny? I work for a couple of companies, and one of the companies I work for did a video that they said that they thought Rodgers was going to be used as a dual 10 for Arsenal, and I never considered it, and I don't agree. I just don't understand. I just don't understand how that would make any sense with our team.
What? So like what as like a nominal 10?
They so they
Like
said
a la like De Bruyne Silver, like
So
how
they,
they used to
yeah,
play.
yeah, kind of. They said that like one of the tens was going to be like it was going to be dual tens, but one of the tens was going to be a bit more of an 8 and do a little bit more of like progression stuff. But then I was like, okay, that makes sense in terms of having Winery, Dowman, Eze, Rogers, and Odegaard. But that doesn't make sense in terms of like loads of other aspects of our team, right? Like, how does the midfield work? Like, you would
Yeah, I
want to
was
have
gonna say,
what's the point of signing Bruno G if you're just gonna have a single pivot? Like, I feel like that's just pointless then. Like, we've got enough players for a single pivot. So it's like that, I think is pointless. The fullback situation I find weird with when that happens as well. But I do find it weird though, because they have been I don't know if you saw the other day, I heard a report that like Berta is looking for wingers that can come inside. or something. And I was like, well, that makes sense because everyone we've looked at is like these type of players, like
Yeah.
Alvarez. But I don't get it. Why are we not buying an out and out winger? I don't get it. Like I would rather just buy an out and out
That's
winger.
one of the things. Do you know, I have to say this about the Vinny deal. I say that like the deal's done. Um, the one thing I really like about it is it's a specialist and it's someone who actually we know, well, I'm guessing anyway, where he's gonna play. Like, how many times have we both said, like, we buy these players, then you go, okay, Calafiori, he's a centre back. Oh no, he's playing left back. Okay, Declan Rice, like he's a six. Oh no, he's playing as a left eight. Oh no, he's back to six. And we've got like Urian Timber. Yeah, we're gonna play him at left back. Oh no, we're gonna now put him at right back. Like we have all these players who we never ever know. Vinny, at least I look and go, cool. You're gonna play on the left. Like I would argue the Morgan Rogers deal, it probably makes more sense him going to Chelsea because
Oh yeah.
they could play him in midfield and you could like put the creative burden on Palmer and let Rogers be that kind of that more physical mover in midfield. Um, kind of like what we've done with Declan Rice in the past. But I looked and I went, I really like him as a player. I like Morgan Rogers. I like what he would bring. But again, he's another real, like, he's a physical brute. And I looked and went, is that what we need on the left hand side? Like, maybe, I guess he'd be an upgrade on Trossard. But then you're losing the technical security that Trossard gave you. So, and you brought up a really good point last week about him playing on the right for England and his inability to actually do anything with his back to goal. So I look at the Vinny deal and go, God, this will really make sense.
It
Like
solves
it just,
everything. It
yeah,
solves because even if you think about the squad, like how it makes up. Let's say we get rid of Jesus. Let's say, okay, we need to make some money because we've got Vinny, and we just sell Yokeres anyway. We just go,
mhm,
oh yeah, Barca have him for 40 mil, 50 mil, who cares, whatever. Like if Arsenal striker options are Havertz and Marino, let's say, if Havertz gets injured and Marino's not fully fit or Marino wants to do something else, he could just play Vinny up front or
yeah.
Martinelli and play the other one as a left winger, and then you've still got Zoles if you need an option. Like I think he would, if we bought Vinny, he'd definitely try him at false nine at some point. It's just like such an Arteta thing to do.
I mean, Arteta can't help but change the
He
player's
just
position.
because he'll be like, oh, we can play direct and we can have him in running behind, and it's like he's gonna love it, and he's like, oh, it's Vinny, and it's like, but it's like I look at these options and I'm like, they just make more sense to me. I think with the Alvarez one, like we said, we kind of figured out a way it might work, but even then there is risks there, like
Yeah,
um. There is risk because there's only two players per side, but they're like the only two, man. Every other player, like Rogers, as much as I liked it, I was very angry that we didn't get that deal over because I feel like the reasons we didn't get the deal over are unacceptable rather than the transfer. And I did see a
yeah,
lot of another podcast that I worked for did a whole thing where they were like, look, Arsenal were going to get scammed. Over 100 mil doesn't mean he's a world class player because he's not. And I was like, I understand that. But at the end of the day, when there's like, but when we can't see any wingers to buy, and it's like, well, he was an option that I thought was fine. It is a bit annoying that it's like, well, the longer stuff goes on, we're not going to get anyone in. So it's like, kind of desperation. But yeah, it would cause more problems for this team. Like, I don't know what we're going to do. And I've seen some people say as well, oh, I can't. People think he's not going to play as Zubimendi, Rice, Bruno midfield, and I was like, it's just that would make sense if you think so little of Arteta. But also, we have currently at the club. We have Eze, Odegaard, and Waneri as attacking midfielders. Kind of. I know Odegaard and Waneri are like eights to an extent, but it's just
mhm.
like we've invested so much in this attacking midfield area. If we buy an Alvarez, I think he's kind of in that mold as well. He's not going to just
Yeah.
not play attacking midfielders. Like he's got loads of them. We've got loads.
It's nice because the Bruno and Vinny deals suddenly change how you look at the squad and the ability to change. I think we would become a bit more stable in what we would see each game in terms of like you're going to see less of a like what do I want to say? I don't want to say like a 10, but someone joining the attack in the same way as a was. I think that would change slightly. So someone playing less off of the nine. But in terms of the midfield, you can play like a flat three. You can play like a rotational three. Like you said, Zubimendi, Bruno, Rice. I can see that working in certain games. I could see that being like a real problem, especially in Europe. Then that would suddenly ask a lot of questions because you're looking, going, well, who's actually dictating midfield? I think they all are. But you then like just the embarrassment of riches of a Miles Lewis Skelly, a Christian Norgard, a Premier League winning player, a previous captain of a
We
Premier
we
League.
can do that with all our team now. Premier League
Um,
winning
like
player.
Mikel Marino, like I don't like him that much in midfield, but he is one there. Like Odegaard, Eze, Declan Rice, then Bruno. Like suddenly Zubimendi, you're looking, going, oh, that changes when I reckon around February I was going, oh, the midfield is looking a little bit shaky. But now Miles has played through it and he's really understanding that role. And you're getting another player in Bruno. Then Vinny's out there on the left and it changes the whole dynamic. We've got to keep Calafiori fit because I'm
100%, yeah.
dying to see that left hand side like that.
Hope he had a
unreal.
good summer. We also the whole like who are we going to buy in defense? I don't know. The preseason is like on this week, by the way. We've just played a friendly behind closed doors against MK Dons, and we get to buy a defender. So,
what's your
that's great.
What's your priority? Because I said I made Rohan and George laugh because I said I agree with both of you, but I disagree with both of you, and they kind of looked at me like, "What are you talking about?" But I said I don't really want Konza. I was the same as George. I'm not a massive fan. I think the transfer fees crazy for a player who really isn't going to play that much, or I'd touch wood. I would hope would not. And then I don't like John Stones either. I think I kind of get it. Like it's a free player, as a player of experience, a player who can, actually play with the ball in defense. But again, you're getting in a player who's got a horrendous injury record to come and play games while your main centre back is injured. Like I just don't feel comfortable with that. Like, but for you, what would you do? Would you go with a right back? Would you go with a centre back? And then depending on which, who would be the person that you'd go for, like reasonably anyway?
Yeah, so I think quickly on the Stones and Konza thing, I'm with you. I don't want either, but I would prefer Stones on a free than Konza for 50 mil. Let's say, like, I would prefer that. Like, I just think it is a bit easier because like we're trying to get Vinny, but like I still wouldn't want it. I made a whole short about not wanting Stones, like, so I'm not going to go back on that. I've been very adamant about what I want, and I haven't changed my opinion, and I don't think I will change my opinion. I saw Arthur De Roche, who's a brilliant writer for The Athletic about a lot of Arsenal stuff, did literally a report the other day. Well, not a report, but he basically had his opinions out there. And he said Arsenal should just sign a right back and commit to a right back and move Ben White over. And it's exactly what I agree with. I made a video a week and a half ago about this. I have spoken about this. I made a big post on Twitter about Fresneda, and I just said we should just go and get someone like this in and just not worry. But I would see a lot more of a right back centre back hybrid. I know a lot. That's what Arsenal are going to try and do. Like I want Fresneda because it's a proper attacking kind of right back that I just do think we needed anyway going into the summer. And I think you kind of kill two birds with one stone. Just move one of the right backs over to centre back. Like you can move any of them over really, and it'd be fine. Like he said Ben White, and I've actually kind of argued that I kind of prefer Timber over Ben White. But I think it's very situational. Some games I think Ben White makes more sense. Some games I think Timber makes more sense. And I would love to get a Fresneda in right back. But there's loads of other right backs. There's like loads. I saw the list that Arsenal linked to like a couple of weeks ago. There's like 6 or 7 on there. I'm like, yeah, they're fine. Like, I would look at them and go, yeah, fair enough. I'm not that. That's fine. Whatever. I do think the whole like hybrid fullback option is like interesting, but I only think it's interesting in a couple of players. Like actually, Pom is a guy that I'd be like, yeah, if he's available, I get him. But like, is he available? Like, I know Chelsea just are buying the Crocs. Chalobah's leaving.
That was my pick for a centre back,
but I just like I spoke to a lot of Chelsea people that I know, especially content creators, and they're just like people that are much more honest with me and not just calling me horrible names on Twitter every time I mention Actually Pom and jumping me. And they kind of said like they were like Actually Pom's not happy. He doesn't want. He wants to kind of leave, and he might not get much game time next year. And a lot of Chelsea fans have said to me like he should leave. Like I think for his career, but they've said that it's just going to be difficult for him to get out because of his contract. situations, like promises, and because he is seen as his talent, and they see him as an untouchable guy. And Chelsea just don't sell players they think they're like that, like the 5 or 6 they ever do. So a lot of Chelsea fans have said to me that he probably won't be possible to get, but maybe that's something that we look at later in the summer. Maybe that's why Arsenal are waiting. But I've heard Liverpool also might want him too. If he was available, I'd just go for him. But if not, I'll just get a right back. Fresneda, there's other ones. Just go and get a right back, guys. Like I don't think we need to. We've got Timber and White and Mascara who are all centre back, right back hybrids anyway. Just play one of them centre back for a couple of months. I think I think we'll be okay. Ben White played centre back loads before, so did Timber. Like I think we'll be okay.
I think like with it being the beginning of the season, you can also look and go, well, worse comes to worse. And I know that this would kill Arteta, but you could play a left-footed player at right centre back. It's not the most horrific thing. Like if you really wanted to, you could play like a Calafiori there, or like I mean, there are other options.
Calafiori is an option. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, and I think to be fair, he might be someone that we really rely and build up on at the beginning of the season. Like I think we talk about it about like Gabriel as well, and what do? Do you, God forbid, do you leave him out? I mean, some people would be like, "God, you can't leave him out. He's one of the best centre backs in the world." But in terms of like what it does for the team and building up from that left channel, and you put Calafiori there, maybe like especially if he's not fully fit.
I agree.
But I think what the club will do is they'll get a hybrid centre back, right back, and you just read Arteta to that, and he's just going to go, well, it's a player that can play in two situations. The problem is, I am looking at it and I keep going back to how do we win the Champions League or how do we retain the title, or go for like a double, say. And I think the only way that we get better, like I said earlier, is by upgrading personnel or tactically change. And something that we've really missed in recent years is when we have had injuries, we never have like a real, like someone who's just tailor made to fit in. It's always someone who's kind of like, I can kind of do it, but it's not my main job. So, for example, like Marino, and I'm not like bashing him here, but he is not like a player that has played as a 9 throughout his career. So there's facets of his game where he's still kind of developing that. Like Mosquera going out to right back, it's like, yeah, he can do it, but he hasn't. That's not ingrained in him. If you get someone like a Fresneda, you're going to ask him to do a job, and he's going to have been in those situations time and time again. You know, those things you just do like autonomously. He's got that, and that's something that I really like, and that's what I quite like about Lacroix. That if you're going to actually play him in Saliba's position, it's not going to be completely foreign to him. He's done it in the in the Premier League. He's done it in those positions.
My fullback might be a bit complicated for him. I don't know.
Yeah, true. But like it's. Yeah, I don't know. I mean,
and that
honestly, I just don't want Konza. That's where I'm at.
That's fair.
Don't give me Konza.
I don't even mind Konza, and I wouldn't necessarily like shy on a guy that I know is good enough to play games, because I do think Saliba just cannot play every game. Like I think with Gabriel, we kind of had the issue, but then like at the end of the day, you can move Calafiori over. I know he's got fitness concerns and he is also our left back, but then we have other players that can play left back, so it's like it's fine. I think if you think about it, like you can have Calafiori come in. I think the build up is such a it is very, very important when we buy a player here. Like whatever happens, Fresneda is not a passer; he's a carry. Like completely. He barely actually passes the ball at all, and I think that's one of my biggest worries about him. Is he going to be able to take a more passing roll up in a team that are going to have the ball more than he does at Sporting? Because he's going to have to an extent. But I think if you have him as a carrier on the right side, then you move one of the centre backs, right backs over. So you move Timber or Ben White. They're both way more ball to feet and more passy. Ben White is people forget, but I watched like 4 or 5 games like a couple of days ago of his old centre back tapes from the year before Saliba joined, and I was like, wow, I really forgot about this guy's passing, man. It is really special. I always know his passing's always been like one of his best things. That's why
I can always remember in the All or Nothing documentary where he sat down for his like one-to-one conversation about,
it was a quest.
Like, you have a world-class ability here. Like,
and
genuinely does.
And I feel like if you have a passer like him, I think Timber is a little bit carrier and passer, but I think people forget
Mhm,
about Timber's passing because he just never does it and right back because he plays such a weird, funky role, I think, for him. But I think
mhm.
if you put him in centre back, he's genuinely okay. I think that you got a carrier on the right side, you've got passer there, you've got Gabriel, who's hoofball FC, but sometimes he's good at passing. Like
Yeah, I think he's getting a little bit more cultured.
well,
In the
he was
last 2
so
seasons,
he was so well,
3, I
yeah.
guess.
3 years ago, he was awful, and then like he got really good the last couple of years. But the last 6 months, he was pretty bad until the last
Mm.
like couple of weeks before the end of the season. I saw someone on Twitter said like Gabriel's better than Saliba in build up, and I was like, that's so funny. I was like, so many people think genuinely actually think that, and it's just so funny to me because Gabriel does a couple of passes once every 4 months, but so okay, whatever. But then you can't really play in Capier because then we're going to be so right-sided dominant. So it just has to be Calafiori. Like you said, Calafiori is the most important player at the start of the season. Like he just has to be there, like in my opinion, until Saliba comes back. So he's not getting surgery. He should be a couple of months at least, and then you got Raya as a passer as well. But then obviously, like we said, it's not as big as an issue because you've got Bruno. If you bring Bruno in,
I was
then
just about to say that.
oh well, we've got one of the best line breaking passers in the world. Vinny's line breaking passer. I don't think people realize this guy is an elite passer, especially from deeper
Yeah.
areas. His Travella pass is unbelievable. I don't know why it's so good. It's just unbelievable. And I'm like we would just genuinely like this is what we say. Technical ability has just been lifted, and then instantly, like you don't worry too much about Saliba because it's like we have passes, we have carriers now, and we have a nice mix. And I don't know, it's just the best way of going about things, I think. I do want to say before we end or whatever. I know you. I'll leave you to say something about. There's one major topic I still kind of want to mention a little bit,
Mm.
and it's about a certain Spanish Golden Ball winner leaving Manchester City, and I find it interesting. So I just want to talk about.
Go on, go for it, mate. Go for it.
Well, I heard 2 weeks ago that Rodri to Real Madrid was quite a high possibility of happening, and I wasn't surprised by the news. I actually got commissioned to do work about him leaving the day before it got like announced, and I was like,
No way.
that's weird. And then I was like, okay, I don't know how everyone knows about this, but yeah. So like this has been going on for a while now. Obviously, Pep left. It was kind of like up in the air with Rodri. Rodri, by the way, in the World Cup was fantastic because Spain
Mhm.
had the ball the entire time and he didn't have to do any tackling, any running. He just
Yeah,
sat
I
there.
was about to say, yeah, he done.
In the Premier League, I think it's a completely different example with how transitional this league is if you make him run. And I think that we saw that, I think he showed glimpses of how good he was on the ball, but I think against like that Bournemouth game, they were just getting ran. He can't keep up. And I don't blame him. He is just come off an ACL injury and he's been injured for a while. They're going to get 70 mil. He's got like 1 or 2 years left on his deal. I think for City, that is good money. Like, I think that's a good deal. Like, I don't think it's great because they're kind of screwed, but like, I think like they need to rebuild anyway.
Yeah.
They've got a new manager. So it's like, you just bought Anderson. Let's try new things, I don't know how the midfield's going to work. I have no idea. Like Anderson, like Nico, Reinders, what's going on there? I think it considerably does make City way weaker. Like, even though I do have issues with Rodri, I think that instantly I'm already not as worried about them, like crazy enough if
Yeah,
he
me
does
too.
leave. And I do think he will leave. I just think he will go to Real Madrid. I think it makes sense with his contract and every situation. I just hope Man City do not come in for Bruno. That is my big worry because
Oh,
that is the biggest one. I've been perpetually
I didn't even
on
think about
edge.
that.
I've just been on edge this entire summer with the Rodgers deal, with the Monga deal, with how long we're taking. There's some deals I don't worry too much, like the Vinny deal. I think we make the most sense, and it's just it's not a cheap deal, right? So teams are gonna have to come in and pay a lot of money. Like, do teams want to do that? A lot of these teams have already spent a lot of money, right? Like City,
Mhm.
PSG, like these teams have already spent money, so I'm not sure if they really want to commit to that. But I look at Bruno and I'm like, oh, 80 million pounds, 85 mil. Like, I know he's old, but like Man City might just be like, oh, let's just get a sure guy in, and I'm like, oh, please no. Like, I just
Oh,
hope they
that
don't come in.
really would make sense to them as well, wouldn't it?
Kind
Oh,
of. But I was thinking like Bruno and Anderson as a double pivot midfield gives me a little bit of Rice and Anderson vibes, which I don't think
mhm.
works in all game states. I think in game states it's much better then. Like, i.e., I don't think like when you're against a low block, I don't think having Anderson and Rice is that good. I don't think having
Yeah.
Bruno and Anderson would be that good. Like the passing would help, but like there's no way to
Mhm.
maneuver. I feel like a lot of their legs would get wasted. So I'm like, I don't know. There's situations that I'm like, it won't help them that much. But they're gonna have to sign someone. Look, Rodri's leaving. He's their best player, like other than Haaland. It's like They're surely going to replace
I
him.
put them losing Pep, Bernardo Silva, and then Rodri changes it from a rebuild to like a restart. Because I did look at that lineup, and from top to bottom of real established and like stars, people who have been there, done it, people you look at a team sheet as another player and go, it's going to be a long day tomorrow. Suddenly they've lost it all. Like they've had that major turnaround, and to lose like De Bruyne previously, and then to lose like a Gundogan, and then Bernardo Silva, then Rodri and Pep at the helm. Like it really does change how it looks. Like it looks like John Stones is going to leave as well, and albeit he's not kind of as big a component in the starting lineup as he used to be, but he's still like a figurehead of, I understand what the club means. I understand the standards. Like this is what we do. Suddenly that whole changing room changes. Like Donnarumma, like he's been there and done it, but I mean it's not like he's Man City established, if that makes sense. Like their back line,
It's really just
there's some
Haaland,
talent
right?
in it, but there's not really any
Haaland's the
stalwarts.
leader. Haaland's the biggest leader in the club. He
Yeah.
has to be. Like he is really the only one. Like
And
all their
he's the
other
only
players.
he's the
not really
only
there.
one.
That's
Because
crazy.
they lost like Mahrez as well. Mahrez I think was a big loss to the changing room and stuff. I don't know.
I guess Diaz is still there, but yeah, I agree with you. I just think it's like I think this is when people talk about I've heard that Norgard is actually a very not very influential, but I've actually heard he's quite influential behind the scenes, like in terms of like leadership. And I've been very open to being like, look, if he wants to stay here and play 4 games a season and be a really good leader behind the scenes, he's not on a huge amount of money. I don't really care. We're not going to get any money for him. I think the same with if Mourinho is to leave Arsenal, I don't think people realise that maybe on the pitch, even in 3 years' time, maybe where Mourinho can't move and he's not effective on the pitch. Off the pitch, he is so effective. I've heard that he's like one of the most influential players at all in the team.
A lot of people have talked to him about him being the next manager in the group. Kind of thing. Yeah,
I would hope so. I mean, Mourinho's my favourite player. I can't lie. When that World Cup was on, I had my Spain shirt on. I was shouting Mourinho the whole game. When he came on, when he missed a sitter, everyone else, I was like, oh my God, if they missed a sitter, that's it. And then when he missed it, I was like, head up, man, head up. And then when they won, I was so gassed Mourinho. I can't believe Mendy came on the pitch, by the way. I was like, what's going on? I was like, this guy existed. And I just like, I don't think the quality on the pitch matters too much, barring Rodri, because I think Silva, I think he was a bit overrated last season anyway. I don't think he was doing too much. But I think genuinely, like you said, like the mentality aspect is big. I really do think, I've said this so much, and I think I'm worried the most about Chelsea, and I'm the second worried about Liverpool, but Liverpool haven't signed anyone yet, right? I think Liverpool will be good under Iriola, but I need to see them sign players to be like, oh, they're going to be there, because they just haven't done that, and they've signed Muniz. But I'm worried about Chelsea, man. I think their signings have been really, really good, and I think Xabi Alonso
their signings make sense this year.
They're playing a 3-back, by the way, 100%.
Yeah,
I think that they will move into a 4.
Well, haven't they been linked to Fresneda?
Oh, they better not.
I'm pretty sure.
Nah,
I will double check this.
They bought Palestra for 50 mil. So there's no way they.
Yeah, that might be. But
this is the thing. They bought Palestra, right? Wing back, better as a wing back than a full back. They got Quenda coming in, who they bought like 4 billion years ago, but he's a better wing back than anything else. Rodgers makes sense in a dual 10 with a 5 back. Lacroix cannot play in a back 4, is better in a back 5. And I'm like, I spoke to so many Chelsea content creators about this, and they've said that they think they'll start with a 5 back and then transition to a 4 back in games and situations. Like, yeah, it makes sense. But I think that the players are just so 5 back coded that he's gonna play a 5 back. And I'm like, I respect, fair enough. Like, I'm not gonna hate on it. Like, Xabi Alonso could do Xabi Alonso things, but I just worry a little bit about Chelsea. I do think that their team is a bit of a mess still, and they're trying to buy Ala Begovic, which is one of my guys that I really like. Why would you ever go there? Just please don't. Just go anywhere else. I don't know, man. I'm a little worried about Chelsea, but if we sign Vinny and Bruno, I wouldn't be worried about anyone. I will not that much.
I mean, the biggest thing for us this season is going to be the amount of minutes that are still in everyone's legs. That's
Yeah.
the biggest thing. I don't think it's quality, and I don't think it's the other teams. Because yeah, City worry me less. I mean, the Pep effect, that's just massive on its own, regardless of anything else. Losing Pep is massive. But Liverpool, I presume, would get better under Iraola. Like I'm a big fan of his. I think he's a great manager, and he makes sense for a lot of those players. But like you say, they haven't had anyone in yet. Chelsea, like it's so difficult because they're actually making moves in the transfer market that make sense for once. It looks like they're going for players who are actually entering the prime or in their prime, which is something as well that they haven't really done at times. Um, and they definitely are going to have a good manager. I mean, how a back three transitions into the Premier League, like it's not been overly successful. Now, ironically, Chelsea are one of the few clubs that have had proper success in the Premier League with a back three. But like, as long as we don't drop off, we should. I mean, I'm sure everyone agrees here. We should be right in the race. There shouldn't be a case of anything going wrong. We just got to keep players fit and rotate.
Yeah,
That's the biggest thing.
I feel like we won't see the repercussions. We won't realize how bad last season was in terms of like how we managed the team until this year, and I think we managed
Yeah.
the team pretty badly last year. So I'm worried a little bit in that regard. But like, there's just so much inconsistency in the league. Like, I don't think we can really make a conclusion fully, especially now. But even when the season starts, about any of these teams, I haven't even thought about Man United, and they've bought loads of players. But I don't even know what to. I don't even know what's going on with their midfield or like what they need to. They need a grounder. Yeah, they don't have that yet, so it's hard to really judge.
Mhm.
Liverpool still don't have a defensive midfielder, have no backup centre backs. Like, you can sign all the great. If they sign Barcola, I think that is a good signing for them. But it's like, where is, we spoke about this last year with Liverpool with like they just bought loads of attackers, and you got to think about defenders. By the way, Mark Gay was a scam. I'm going to say it now. I think he was a scam. I think the money that he's on at Man City is crazy, and I watched a
It's
lot of him at
mad money.
Palace, and it was one of them things where he played in a back five. Like, how is he going to go? I've watched him enough over the last 6 months now, and I'm just like, I don't know, man. He's been good for City. Not saying he's been bad, but I think he's been a little overrated, and I just don't think he does much for me. Like, he's fine. I think he's like a good centre back, but I don't care. Like, I don't care. Like, I don't know. I don't worry
I think
about him.
he's like, and no disrespect as I say this, I think he's at the level of like Man United over the past 5 years, not City level. Like if I
Yeah,
was going,
I see what you mean.
if City were buying a centre back, I would expect someone that comes straight in. I go, whoa, that he is bloody good. Whereas Gahey, I think he just comes in, he does a job. And I remember when he first came in at City, and there are certain pundits. I'm not going to mention any names before I start going off on one, but saying like, "Oh, world class, world class." I'm like, is he like? When we say Bukayo Saka's not world class, but we're saying Gay is.
Yeah, he is. Yeah, that's just like
Like,
it's so stupid, isn't it?
what are we doing here? But
Right. It's so funny. It's so funny as well, by the way, in the January transfer, everyone crashing out because we didn't spend 112, 20 mil and 700k a week wages on Gay and Semenyo, and it made no difference because wow, you won the cup, fair play, but like it made no difference. They didn't win the league, and we won it anyway. Like, I said this at the time. I wanted us to make investments, but I didn't think 65 million pounds of Semenyo was good. Maybe in the market now we could say fair enough. It probably was fair, but like,
yeah,
wages wise, he's on a lot, and I just think he's a little bit of a goal scorer. And I
I mean the
argue like
wages just reeked to desperation of
the
like we've
Gay
got to
ones
get
are
these
like
players in to try to
awful,
get Pep over the line before he leaves.
but he's just a goal scorer. And I think if anyone knows anything that Arteta wants, he wants more from his attackers. I think we've bought a goal scorer now, and his name's Soles, and we spent 35 mil
Yeah.
on him, and he might be crap, but who cares? I think, yeah, I don't know. I think it's so interesting. It's so right what you say about
And
Man
if
City's
we
defenders.
paid that in Jan, would we even be able to go for like Vinny
No,
and Bruno
no,
and stuff?
no, I don't
So
think
like
so.
really like the long-term planning right now, touch wood, it looks like the club have really again been headstrong of this is what we want to do. Like this is where we're moving, this is where the club's heading. Like, I think, yeah, it looks really, really good. Like it just does.
So.
Before we finish up, I'm going to read out some of the comments from my phone because when I got disconnected earlier, I've lost all chat function, guys. So I do apologize. So I'm on YouTube. How egotistical is that I'm watching myself on YouTube as I'm doing it. So let's go 610. I hope you're well, mate. 610 is saying Melier 26-27 Champions League winner. And he also said if Max hits the ground running, you could see Saka at false 9-2. A Vinny Saka Max front three is crazy good. We should sell it to Gyökeres anyway. I mean, that's big cool. But yeah, I mean, that's the other thing. You've got like Ethan could play false 9 technically. I mean,
I guess he's not leaving. Yeah.
Yeah.
Guess he's staying then. Like,
be interesting to see what happens, isn't it?
It's so funny we talk about these stuff for months, and then we get to this point, we're like, well, I guess
I don't know. We're just keeping everyone.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah. Odegaard, guess he's staying now. I guess it's not even a conversation.
We give Fabio Vieira a job. Like, could he I don't know, could he do the tours of the museum and stuff?
What to make us the money worth it for us?
Yeah.
Because I mean, I don't know.
Neil Gunner, I hope you're well, mate. The fluidity comes back into our front line. I see a false 9 coming back, yeah. And then Arteta loves a false 9.
Yeah. Maybe he's just had enough of like just strikers, and he's like, oh, just get Gyökeres and out and get Alvarez in, so we can just go back to what I love. So,
yeah, let's go back to to losing the
wait, false 9 with Vinny and Saka as your wingers. Yeah, that's fine. I don't care. It's fine.
Mate, fairs,
it's so much better when your wingers are that good, then it's fine. But when your wingers are like Madueke and Soles, you're like, well, I don't know. Maybe we need a striker, guys.
Oh, you know we're going to see lineups like that, regardless. How many times did we see Madueke, Gyökeres, and Martinelli last year? And we were like, no. Give us some butt.
Imagine,
like, no, I'm doing it on purpose.
Imagine like Saka's not fit and you got Video on the left and then you got Madueke on the right. I think I might bust out laughing if I see that.
Vinny's like, who's that guy?
Madueke stocks are going up, guys. You hear that first. We believe. I mean, we're at rock bottom. We are at rock bottom, so they can't go anywhere. They have to go up. Well, hopefully they go up. I believe in you. I believe in you, Nonny.
I'm glad you do. Timber, so this is from the Daily Depot. Timber or White are natural right centre backs, and playing there would be less demanding on them physically. Yeah, I think that's really important to note as well. Like just physically, that it doesn't put them under as much strain and stress. 610 Vegas. I've been saying that Calafiori can do the Saliba build-up stuff. Yeah, I think different way of doing it, but. Yeah, he's definitely the biggest person in our build-up for the start of the season. That's how I'm going to say your name. Or is it Ali? Ali. We're going with that. So Ali's saying, when Rodri leaves and Vinny comes, the dynasty starts. Love that. Absolutely love that. And then down here from Abhishek, hello guys. Can Arsenal realistically afford both the transfer fee and the wages for Vinícius Jr.? No, like that's a kind of to finish.
Yes,
I did want to ask you one question. So I wanted to go through what would be like your A tier transfer window now that we know that we're being linked with Vinny, because I think previously we wouldn't have even suggested him because the likelihood seemed like it was very, very low. What do you think the club had to do to have an absolute, like a S tier, like the best window we have ever had? What would then be like an A tier? So go for it, mate. Like we know we've got Solis through the door, we've got Melier.
We definitely need to make some sales. I know that's not really like the point of the question, but like, right, the sales have to happen, in my opinion.
Yeah.
In some capacity. I mean,
record fee coming in for this as well to be S tier. I guess so.
I guess it depends who leaves. Like, honestly, I would be pretty okay if we got like 15 mil for Jesus, 10 mil for Vieira, 5 mil for Nelson. Like if them three things happen, I'd be already calmer because I'm like, that's wages off the books. There's more important things here. They're just squad space as well. The Deadwood's gone. That is important. Like I'm not. Like I said, I'm not really like too. Like, I think there's nuanced arguments for Waneri. Odegaard, Gyökeres, and Martinelli of like stay or go. I think Martinelli's probably the one that everyone's more likely on, and it's same with me. But if everyone's like, oh yeah, 35 mil, and I'm like, nah, I'll just keep him then. Like you see
I
what I
would
mean?
keep him for that.
It depends on the money. I think in terms of people coming in, I mean, like Bruno, I think now I'm so set on it. I've said multiple times on the internet, oh, bro, I did a whole post the other day being like, financially, it doesn't make sense for Arsenal. It isn't a very financially smart thing to do. But I don't care because I want to win Premier League titles, and I would rather win 3 Premier League titles and then not win for 10 years than just not win again. I would rather take the risk and just commit to a player like that and just do it. And also, I got so many comments being like, well, the money he makes sense for you doesn't make sense for you. I was like, I literally didn't mention Newcastle once in this post. This post is about Arsenal. You found my post for whatever reasons that Elon Musk wants to show you. This post is about Arsenal.
I love the idea of Elon Musk personally going, I'm sending this to you.
It's just so annoying. Like, people get so offended when they see my stuff on their thing, and it's about Arsenal. I'm not talking about I've had so many. I always talk about Newcastle. Always try and show the other side of the argument, but it's like I was just talking about Arsenal, about how much it makes sense to us.
Yeah.
I think Bruno would. I think I'd just be so happy with him. I think I genuinely wouldn't mind if it's just Vinny as an attacking signing. And maybe with, let's say, Gyökeres leaves to justify that. Like, I think if Vinny joins, I don't see us sign another attacker. And honestly, I don't really care. If Vinny joins, I'll just be like, got Vinny, I don't care. I don't care. Do what we want. Like, I know it'd be annoying when Vinny's not fit and stuff, but I just don't care. Like, Vinny's so good. And then obviously defenders, I would say to be an S tier, you would have to have 2 attackers, and it would be like Vinny. Even if it's not like, some people would have to sell for this to happen. Like Gyökeres, Martinelli would probably both have to go. Maybe an Alvarez and a Vinny. Vinny and Alvarez would be the best. It would just be so good. And then Bruno, and then I don't really care about right back. Yeah, like I want Fresneda. He's my favorite, but I'm not like I just don't care. Like just get like Reed. I don't think Reed still to Nottingham Forest has gone through yet. I know he's got bad hamstrings, I've heard, but like just he's 20 mil. I mean, I don't know if I love that really. I want to commit a little bit more long term to someone I trust a bit more because we've got a curse in the right back spot, but that'd be perfect really. And then an A tier would just be like Vinny, no Alvarez, and then Bruno, and then just Fresneda, let's say, just right back, or like, and then like a B tier would probably be like John Stones, Bruno, and then like Alvarez. Like, that's still pretty good. Like, I wouldn't love it.
It's a good window, isn't it?
I wouldn't love it, but it would still make us pretty good. Like, I still would be all right with it. You know what I mean?
Would you prefer a window with say like you said, John Stones, Bruno? Would you prefer it with Barcola, Diamande, or Alvarez or Krupi?
Barcola. I still think I just want an out-and-out winger. I've been kind of critical of him, but I think the criticism of Barcola is actually way too like far nowadays. I think everyone could see in the World Cup how good he was. I think he was good. There was situations you weren't amazing. Yeah, I get that, but I feel like you could say about any player in the World Cup. I think no one was amazing all the time. And I just think genuinely Barcola would be the best player. I love Nico Williams. I think Nico Williams fits our team so well. And like, he might be cheaper. I don't think the wage should be cheaper, but the fee might be cheaper, so it might end up working the same. And like, I wouldn't hate that. But like, if that happens, then I feel like you still need another attacker. You know, like
I was going to say that.
I feel like if Barcola
I could see like a Nico and a Krupi, then I'd go, okay.
I think Krupi's going to go to PSG. I don't know why. I don't even really know why they want him. I guess they sold Ramos, but like, cool. I don't know. They just played Dembele up front. Like, do you need Krupi, guys? Krupi, but I could just see him buying Krupi. I don't know what's going on. I've heard some stuff about Rayad. Apparently, like Liverpool really want Rayad, and it's like Bournemouth aren't going to sell everyone. I'm sure you've heard about all the Alex Scott stuff, and they want 95 mil for Scott, and it's like,
yeah, he's not signing a contract, is he?
I will say on the last thing I want to say to talk, because I spoke a lot today. There's two rogue centre backs that maybe we should look at. Number one, he is in Saudi, so it's probably chalked. But Aymeric Laporte, oh my god, that guy's goes so good in the World Cup.
I completely forgot that.
He is left-footed, but he can play on the right side. Incredible.
We were linked to him as well. Do you remember?
Yeah.
No,
he's so Arteta coded. Such an Arteta coded player. Number two, I've seen a couple of links to him. I don't think he's amazing, but it depends on the fee, right? Zabrania, or whatever his name is, from PSG, right? PSG apparently like don't love him and they want to kind of get rid of him. He played a lot in the league but didn't play at all in the Champions League. He was brilliant at Bournemouth the year before. I wouldn't mind him. I think as a backup, he's fine. Like he's pretty young still. I'm pretty sure. He's only like 24. Like, I don't know. I don't mind him. For like, if you were like, oh yeah, 40 mil, I'd be like, I don't know. I don't see why that's the worst thing in the world. He could play for a while. I don't know. Like these players, I feel like there's deals to be done in centre backs. I don't think centre backs and fullbacks are that expensive. I think you're looking at top end 50 mil, 45 mil. I think we can do stuff.
And that's what we should be doing, isn't it? Like, yeah. Maybe we just get Dixon in.
We're so much more positive. Well, apparently
we got Marley Salmon as well. Like, this is the one good thing. We have got like young options coming through.
Apparently, Dixon's going on loan. I heard, but I will say that like it is exciting. It is exciting because last week we spoke and it was all like, I mean, doom and gloom. I was like, who are we going to buy? It's just going to be awful. And I did think, obviously, the Vinny thing, like he still hasn't signed a new deal. It's been 4 months, but I've just been like, I just don't believe it. And still now, I don't believe it. Like it's so far away from happening. But I don't know. We have got some confidence that the club are trying to do stuff. So that's bad. Yeah, also, man. Please just finish this Bruno deal. Like, let's stop wasting.
Let's just get over the deal.
Just pay over the line. 85 mil if you have to. Like, who cares? Like, it's been so far. Like, I don't want. Like, just stop pissing off Newcastle. Like, please, their fans keep coming for me. Can we just end it?
Mate, me and you have got like a proper like anti-Newcastle. Well, I guess not anti-Newcastle. We got like a Newcastle contingent that hate us, which is hilarious because now I just play up to it. It's kind of like what part of the reason I want Lacroix, but just to annoy Chelsea fans. I wanted to be like, yeah, we've taken a player off your hands that you wanted and stuff, but yeah. It is mad. It's like Villa now. Like, I don't want Konza after that whole thing. Don't want him. Don't like Emery.
I mean, I don't like Villa anyway, Emery and stuff. And
exactly.
I don't really like Newcastle. I just think like I don't know these. I can't be asked. I think I'm not going to speak about it, but yeah, like these people are just weird. Like I feel like I just want to be left alone sometimes and speak about my team that does have sort of links to Newcastle, but it's not about them. Like I just don't care. I don't care about another Saudi-owned PIF company.
You speak about whoever you want to speak about, Reece. You do what you want, mate. Don't
I just get tomorrow. Like the first thing is like Arsenal should sign Lewis Hall. That's gonna start World War IV on Twitter. I probably better not start. I better not do that. Everyone's gonna be so angry.
Oh, do you know what? I'm gonna start rumors. I'm gonna start doing like like aggregators do, where they like say, "Oh, Fabrizio Romano has said this." I'm just gonna start saying Wokkels has reported, and I'm just going to constantly put Newcastle players.
I should just do. I reckon there's some of these transfer pages on Twitter that like are just online as much as possible, like me, and just can understand things to a good level where they could post stuff. And like I see it when they go back a month later and they're like, oh yeah, look, I said this a month ago, but I'm like, that's not how transfers work. Like you don't agree a deal a month ago and then just do it in a month. Like, that's not how it works. But like I think I could genuinely run one of these pages because I just know like so much of just like what I see on the thing. And I'm like, something.
That's because you're chronically online.
Yeah, it's true. That's the day I wasn't. I haven't been online. I've actually gone out 2 days in a row and I haven't been online.
I'm proud of you. Got some fresh air.
And then look what happens when I go outside. Look what happens going to sign. Vinny links to Arsenal.
Yeah, so you need to keep offline.
It's like
you know when you're like watching a microwave thing and it never dings, or like watching a toaster and never comes up. Like you have got to get offline, and then hopefully deals will start getting over the line.
It's just so annoying because it's like this always happens. I never leave the house, and then it's like, oh yeah, then okay, I can't, I'm not there, and then something goes out. I bet something will happen next week as well. I won't be here, and then it'll be like, well, I'm not here, guys. So I don't know what to say. I've already made about 16 videos on Bruno. So if like he signs, I don't really have much more to say. But Vinny, though.
When are we back on, mate? When are we? Are we doing next Friday? Are we doing Saturday?
I can't do Saturday, so it would have to be Friday. I can't do Saturday at all.
So, guys, if you want more FOKLZ podcast, we will be back next Friday. We'll put it out on the socials. Usually 7:30, but it's been later as of late, hasn't it? We have been starting more like 9:30 recently. Mainly because I'm on holiday and you're like an owl.
No, I wake up at 9 a.m. every day, every single day for the last 2 weeks. This is the time I'm going to bed.
Caveat for the last 2 weeks.
Yeah, well, obviously, it's not like long term. I need before the season starts. I need to switch it back around. But right now, it's fine.
Survive like that?
It's fine. It's fine being this. Yeah, I just
mate. Tell the people all what 23 people who are currently watching. Thank you very much for tuning in, guys. Tell them where they can find you. Tell them about your big channel, about your small channel.
Wokkels football, guys. I promise I will post soon. I haven't for 2 days. I know it's really bad, but maybe there'll be a video tomorrow. Maybe if I wake up in time and do it.
There's definitely going to be a short out. 100%.
Oh yeah. There'll probably be 2 tomorrow. Maybe. I'm back to work now for the most of the week until Spider-Man comes out, and I will be watching Spider-Man in cinemas. So you won't probably see me for that day, but
which will come out on your small channel.
Yeah, maybe. Still working on stuff. Still watching all the Christopher Nolan movies. I'm at Inception now, so we're like halfway through. So
that is a great film. I love Inception.
It's good. I like it so much.
And if you haven't done so, guys, make sure you like and subscribe here. I have got Adam Keys coming on from Arsenal Therapy and Arsenal.com quite often. You would have seen him on the Latte Firm, on the Different Knock. He's here, there, everywhere. Level-headed, really good views. So Adam will be on soon. I'm going to be putting more content out now that I am actually off real work. So more content will be out every few days. There'll be a transfer news coming out. There will be the FOKLZ podcast, obviously, every week. And there will be some more guest episodes. So hopefully we'll get Rohan, George, Alex, James on here from the Different Knock. Hopefully we can make a little call, try to get James B back on from the Gooniverse and Shiroi. They haven't been on here for about a year. So, guys, message them. Get on socials, tell them to message
I've taken over the channel.
So more content. There will be more content over the summer. Keep you guys up to date. I hope you're all well. Remember, you guys know football. We just talk it. It's Folder and Wokkels out. Anything last to say, mate?
No. That's because they so funny, but
inspirational. Cheers, guys. Take care.